Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyper Conscious Podcast. Alan and I were lucky enough to sit down with a amazing gentleman, Jonathan Moore. Jonathan Moore invited us up to his house. We got to meet his family, his children, and we got to see a ridiculously oversized fish that he has on his wall.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Moore added so much value in this podcast. I learned so much more than I expected to. I guess I went in knowing that he knew a ton, but his life experience, his stories, and the way he just is able to motivate is unlike any other. I will let Alan read the bio because, again, I can't read.
So, Jonathan Moore is a retired British Infantry combat military veteran. He has led teams in situations ranging from peacekeeping operations in Kosovo and Northern Ireland to fierce fighting conflicts in Iraq, all the time focused on winning the hearts and minds of his team members and the local population. He's also the co-author of a book called G.A.S. Leadership. G.A.S. stands for Give a Shit, and CEO of Precision Home Remodeling Group, a multi-million-dollar home improvement company. Jonathan's team are poised to do even greater things as they continue to employ the rituals of G.A.S. leadership and remodeling homes and hearts one at a time. So Jonathan mentioned that his business in the first year went from $1 million in net revenue to $7.5 million.
Yes.
I think that's all a tribute to his give a shit leadership. He's a non-excuses, do whatever it takes, will not quit, will not stop kind of guy. He mentioned to us that he rode his bike across the country.
Yes.
So
he's done a lot of extreme stuff. And for those so we introduced him and said that he was part of the military, special forces. But I want you to realize, if you're listening to this, that just because you don't necessarily have that military mindset doesn't mean that you won't take something from this. If you're lacking motivation in any department and you're looking for it, this is going to be a great episode for you, along with every other one, but this one especially because there's a lot of tough love, but there's a lot of visualization for you to figure out how to take the next step in your life.
He talks about a bunch of different things on this episode. We talked about the transition from military to fatherhood, leadership in a business to being a leader of your child and your children. We met his kids, his wife, great rep. Talked about some crazy stories about catching that fish that Kevin mentioned, and there's a lot of laughs in between. So it was good stuff, and we hope you enjoy it.
Enjoy! No. Geographically? Geographically. This is cool. So I would say make sure that pretty face is showing.
Yes, true.
They're going to want to see that fucking thing. They're going to want to see that fucking thing, Alan. That fucking face. You good?
Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyper Conscious Podcast. There's always a cool story behind the guests and how they come from an idea to a reality. And Jonathan Moore is our guest today. You were at the seminar that I went to, that Alan spoke at. You spoke as well.
Yep.
And I'll kick it to Alan and let Alan explain how you ended up with us today. But thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So hello, everyone. So how did I meet Jonathan Moore? So I went to a book publishing seminar that you guys have all heard a lot about a year ago now or so. You met Mariana at that event.
Yeah.
I think we met in passing, but we didn't build too much rapport yet.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a busy time.
Yeah, and then Mariana set up sort of a dream team of speakers.
Yeah.
Dragon, yourself, Steve Ryder, Mariana, myself, and Ryan Snow. And you and I went and killed it in Boston. And we gave a speech, and the whole room was on fire. And then I said we had dinner later that night, and I was like, Jonathan, your story's next level. I got to have you on the podcast. You were like, yeah, man, we'll do it. No problem.
Sure.
And then it just happened.
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
Here you are.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, do you want to start us off with some questions?
Yeah, so you and I were talking in the preamble, and I said, I have told people that meeting, that it changed my life. Going to that changed my life, and people don't believe it. And I gave examples to people that went, and it changed their life. And when I told you that downstairs, I said, how do you tell somebody that? And you just blew my mind with what you said. So I think that's a good way to start.
All right, I think people have to they have to be ready to change. That's the first piece. It also comes down to what they see. We have different perspectives on everything. If I was to have you close your eyes right now, and I'd say, okay, imagine the color blue, and then you open your eyes, and I said to you, hey, describe me the color of blue. You're going to give me one color. Alan's going to give me another color. I'm going to give you a different color. Doesn't mean that we're wrong. No, it just means that we take away from things differently upon what we see. It's our perspective, So if someone doesn't go to an event because they don't believe that they're going to get something from it, either their want is not bigger than their why not. So their why has to be bigger than their why not. If it's not, then they're never going to go to anything. They're never going to be enthused. You can try and motivate someone as much as you want. It will fall on deaf ears. It's just going to happen. It's all about inspiration. So they have to see first and foremost, or hear, what is it that is going to help me? So in our kind of preamble, as you say, we'd spoken about you have to know you. Before you go searching to improve you, you need to know you. I mean, that's the big piece of it. When I was training to go on selection for the British Army, you have to put your life out there kind of thing and just go for it, right? And so what ends up happening is you do all of these runs and these test runs on your own. And so me being like 21, 22 years old, I was like, I got this. This is easy. And I just decided to go on a 26-mile, fully loaded march across Dartmoor. I'm like, yep, it's 10 o'clock tomorrow, I'm going to get off it. I drive down there, I leave a map with a buddy of mine, and I'm just like, hey, if I'm not back in a couple of days, just send out a search party. And I'm joking, but that's kind of how it went, right?
Yeah.
And so I end up, 6 o'clock at night, I'm on the telephone with my sister. I'm like, hey, sis, I just got onto the training grounds, I'll be off comms for 12 hours or so. And that was me, telephone. And this was back, and I say back in the day, check me out how old I am. Right? Flip phone, right?
Dating yourself.
Yeah, flip phone, eh? So, a little while ago. But flip phone closed, battery's going to die on it, turn it off, throw it in your backpack, game over. And then you just start jogging it out. And that's just how it is. But then for me, 2-3 hours later, it's pitch black out there, and I come across what's called a shake hole. Now, I was jogging downhill, and I was having a great time, and I just suddenly out of nowhere see this darkness come flying at me, and I just jumped. And I had a fully loaded backpack on, you got a good 80 pounds in there, and you're trying to do test routes, you're trying to be that superstar, because they all are in the SAS, let's be real about it, The same with Delta Force and the rest of the guys, massive respect for them. And I jump across this ditch, and I literally grab onto the end of it, and by pure luck I landed far enough. I don't know what was down there, but it was a massive drop. And so that then suddenly it gives you a minute where you're just like, oh crap, it's just me in the world. And then you start to get to know you real fast.
Yeah.
So before you go to an event, get to know you. Now, you can do strengthfinder.com, you can do personalityinsights.com, you can do all of the different tests for it, but know you, know what you're looking for, know the journey, or at least just somewhat forwards of the journey that you want to take. Because if you know that, then you'll start to resonate, you'll start to find different people and different experiences which will help you get to that end point. So back to your original thing, and I'm sorry for the...
No, I think that was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, keep it up.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Yeah.
But so back to the original thing is you've got all these people which they see a marketed event, and it's flopped for them before. They've heard nothing but bad stories and stuff like that. So they're like, well, why do I go? Or someone goes to it not knowing what they want to get out of it. Steve Ryder did a great thing when he stood up, and I was smiling at the back of the room. The first thing he did was, a little introduction, and then he says, so what are you looking to get out of today? I was like, good man. Bang on the money. So that's where they've got to start.
He literally came up to me and Matt before and said, what do you guys want to learn?
Yeah.
And then he wrote it down. Everybody in the class.
Yeah, he
wrote it down, and he talked about every single thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a great intro.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
What a great intro. Can you
So,
just,
Kev, how are
just
the...
talk a little,
Yeah.
a little bit
Sure.
better into the mic?
So,
and loud. Use that voice.
This
All
up
right.
a little bit. Like that, and then right up on
I
it.
think that me and Alan were talking about this the other day. I think in the moment where it's life or death, that's truly the first moment that people actually live in the present. And they realize that if I was to die right now, this is what I'd be remembered for. I'd be remembered for everything I've done up until this. And for a lot of people, that's a reality check.
Yeah, it's massive. I'm a big fan of the Spartan movie for when they send a kid out, in 300, send him out.
Yeah.
I'm huge for that. Yes, you should be subjected to that kind of, not maybe that level. It depends on who you are. I don't want you chasing around with the wolves. But you should definitely get an experience of you on your own in your life to see what is my character, what is my makeup, how am I built, where can I grow? Because life's a journey, It's not about getting to the end point. It's all about the pieces in the middle. And they're the cool pieces. They're the pieces where you have some fun.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, crap, I just did that.
Right?
Medic.
So I noticed in our preamble, your daughter was in here while we were setting up, and she wanted to know our names.
Uh-huh.
And you said you're going to have to ask them their names if you want to know their names. So that's a good example of what you just said. Like, she would have to step up and ask us our names if she wants to know them, and you didn't do it for her. You literally said, I'm not going to do it for you.
Yeah, my wife, she's a sweetheart. Love her to pieces, right? She is all about enablement. She works as a director of residence life, for a prestigious college down in Boston. And, it's easy to be a helicopter parent. It's easy to enable your children to, they need something, you give it to them. No. Mm-hmm. We work on a merit society, at my house, I'm all about that.
Meritocracy.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about that on the podcast. Love it.
You got to earn it,
Earn
it. Same with my sales team. Not one of them will come out there and just expect to get leads. They will earn it every single day. When they go out and they sell a deal, they earned that deal.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They worked their backsides off. They gave their heart and soul, passionate, enthusiastic, excitement. They were there for the client. They saw everything through the client's eyes, and boom, that's why they got the deal.
So let's get to know you a little more. What is your business? I know that you have a lot of explosive growth in your business this year. We talked about that on some of the conference calls with all the speakers prior to the event in Boston. Mm-hmm. What industry are you in? How did you get into it? Let's go through that whole thing, just so people know who they're talking to.
I give you the 2-minute version then. So I was... do you want me to go the whole way back?
Yeah.
Born and raised?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What shaped you into the man you are today?
Oh,
it's about you, Jonathan Moore Show. Let's roll.
My wonderful mother. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Okay, born and raised into not a crazy bad setting. I think I want to make that very clear. Everyone in the world has something worse than what I've ever had, and I'm very cognizant of that. There are people that I've been very fortunate enough to meet who literally have to walk 15 miles to school. Mm-hmm. If they want to go and get water, they walk 10 miles to go and get water from the nearest well. So, I've seen that. So when I was born and raised, some people would look on it and say, oh, wow, that's crazy, that's harsh. But my biological dad was into he thought he was this crazy lunatic that could rule the world, I suppose, but he did it all in the wrong way. Hell's Angels biker group, wanted to be a gang leader, drugs, guns, pornography, you name it, it was all of that jazz. So, yeah, that was interesting. Mm-hmm. He got arrested when I was 4 or 5 years old. So that just kind of caused a whirlwind, So now it's single mother, 5 kids. I got 2 stepbrothers, my brother and my sister. And it was just a lot for my mum to handle.
For sure, man. We both have single mothers as well.
Yeah.
So we resonate with that very strongly.
So know what I'm saying. There no means was it bad.
So happy Mother's Day to that,
yes.
by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
All right. So then from there, it came into she had to do the best that she could. We had 0. Literally 0. I'd do beans on toast for dinner, and that was fabulous.
Interesting.
That.
Love it.
That was a hearty meal. You guys sit here and you're ripped. I'm just this is the biggest I've been in 26 years.
Yeah.
I almost popped a bicep.
Which way is the beach?
Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, it's cool. But that meant that from the age of really 5 through to 16, we moved around a lot. there were lots of little things which happened, which were stressful, and caused us to grow up in life, At that stage, I joined the Army Cadets at the age of 12. So I needed to get into something which would, you saw my kids running around earlier.
Yeah.
I was them on steroids. So so I would be running around like a lunatic. I definitely gave my mother a lot of grey hair. And so I joined the Army Cadets, and that was a great platform,
To get some direction and some structure.
Absolutely. Direction, structure, self-discipline, motivation, understand who I am, where I need to, or not need to go, but where I want to go in the world, what my ambitions are, how to achieve your dreams, that kind of thing at an early age. So much like you see these singers at 7 years old who can belt out an opera song. Now, I can't do that, but I've been very fortunate to be with a real cool group of people that can help you, guide you in the right leadership roles, since a young age.
Love it.
So that was a big piece of the puzzle there. And then from Army Cadets, I joined the military at 16 years and 9 months old. I think my mother couldn't wait to sign the paperwork fast enough, so I don't blame her either. I think I would have destroyed the house. So that was great. Joined the Army at 17, just under. Training was hard, I was very young, but I knew nothing else other than just grind, like get it done, everything was a mental state. There were people that had joined the same unit as me, and they'd come from, silver spoons and all that sort of jazz, they've come from some real good areas. And for me, it was just like, well, this is great. I get 3 meals a day. I just got to make my bed and turn up for parade on time. This is easy.
Yeah.
Not the dumbest kid on the block, so I think that helped as well when they're throwing different things out at you. And just, did good for that side of things. From the military, I was there for like 8 years. And
what branch? So special forces?
No. So I was in the infantry. When I first went into the recruiting office, they were like, so you're going to go and be a helicopter technician, and then if you want to fly helicopters, that's the best way to do it. I was like, whoa, that sounds great. And then I went on the recruiting day. It did not look great. I saw all these guys, and I love the British Infantry or British Army and stuff, but these guys were in a hangar, and they were carrying rags around, and they were fixing helicopters, and I was just like, that sucks. I was like, I am not doing that. There's no way I'm going to be a helicopter mechanic. You might as well change tires on a car for the interest level,
Yeah, not stimulating.
It wasn't. That's the piece, you know? So I was just like... So I went to the 1st Battalion, the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment, which is Princess Diana's regiment.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so I went on an open day there, and I loved it. Like, I was in my element. I was just like, this is great. This guy's got an anti-tank weapon system. This guy's got a general-purpose machine gun. Like, I'm running around. I'm like a kid in a candy store, So it was fabulous. So that made my mind up. And so I went back to the recruiting office, and I said to the recruiter, I was just like, yeah, so that plan that you had, not happening. And he lost it. Like, he straight up lost it.
Yeah.
Like, he was just like, you can't do this. This isn't happening. I was like, no, it is, dude. And that was that. So I joined the infantry and went through training with some really, really cool guys. Training was hard. I mean, we can talk about that later if you like, It was hard. But I got best student on phase 1 and best student on phase 2 just because head down, body armor on, helmet on, go,
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I mean, that was the piece of it. There was some real hard times. But they put me through my paces, It's one of the best military schools. I will take my hat off to anyone who's gone through, infantry training center in Catterick, all the way through to then, your junior NCO's cadre, which is what you do in battalion, and then all the way through to your what they call it, junior Brecon. It's where you go out to Brecon in Wales, and you basically get beaten silly for like 4 or 5 months, but in a commander's role, and it's great. It sets you up fantastically for then jumping into business.
When you say in a commander's role, you mean some sort of a leadership position?
Yeah, absolutely. So you start off obviously as a private soldier, then you move into a lance corporal, then a corporal, sergeant, colour sergeant, sergeant major, and move on up through the ranks.
No kidding.
So I left the British military as a corporal just because we'd been into Iraq and stuff in 2004. It was actually 14 years ago to this date where we were like running around, getting blown up, shot at, you know, people getting set on fire and all sorts of stuff. So it was real deal, like jumping in there and having some fun. It was good, mate. It was good fun.
I gotta. So I don't want to interrupt the story. No. It's an awesome story, but I want people to realize they might hear this and say, "Oh, this is a military guy. Of course, he's got this kind of mindset." But one of your brain children is G.A.S leadership.
Yeah.
Can you explain what G.A.S leadership and especially what it stands for?
Yeah.
Because I think that's super important. That you're not just this cold, calculated person. Yeah. So a lot of people say, I'm just not built that way.
All right, so I'll rewind that then. This is perfect, because when I was in training, there was a section commander who, and I'll leave names out of it, you know, but there was a section commander and there was a red-headed gentleman that was next to me, all right? And this young kid, same age as me, you know, 17, 18 years old kind of thing, and we're in a trench, it's a live firing exercise, and the corporal decides, and we've been there for like hours, you know, it's your full march to contact, advance to contact, all that sort of thing. We're in a trench, and obviously the red-headed kid has his head above the parapet too high, basically, you know, and he's monging it a little bit. That's the easiest way to describe it. Corporal comes over, smacks him clean on the head with a shovel, all right? The kid almost passed out in the trench. And that kid gets up and he's just like, if we were real deal in a war situation right now, I'd let him get out the trench first and I'd shoot him. And I was just like, holy crap.
Jesus.
Like, he meant it. Like, he was real deal.
God.
As hardcore, as truthful as it was. You know, like, it was coming from his heart. And I was just like, I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
So that was a defining, turning moment for me. Or a defining moment, a point which turned how I viewed things to say, okay, hang five. I need to care about my team.
Yeah.
And so that's, as you say, coming back to G.A.S leadership. G.A.S leadership is give a shit. That's what it is. Give a shit leadership. All right?
Love it.
And the whole point about it is, how much can I give? How much can I act in congruence with what I say I'm going to do? And how can I see things from the person who's speaking to me's perspective so that I can actually understand what's going on and move that person, or help move the needle, help them reach their goals, you know? How can I be the wind beneath the eagle, the wings of this eagle that's in front of me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You mentioned the eagle with the broken wing at the speech. So we have actually talked about that with our mastermind group.
Nice.
Matt Ryan, Nate Smithson, Kevin, and myself have a call every Monday night. We talk about leadership, our goals and dreams, how we can help each other.
Yeah.
And can you explain what the eagle with the broken wing thing is, and maybe give an example of someone in your life who is ready to soar, but they just needed that G.A.S leadership from you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a piece of it is identifying potential. When you do an interview or you meet someone or anything like that, you must identify potential within. All right. And that's probably a whole hour's worth of talking in itself of how do you do that, right? So you identify the potential within. And then from there, you're going to sit there and say, okay, how do I now take this person who has the ability to do well, who is not doing well in their current settings? How do we change the existing settings or the circumstances to help them move to that next level or to fix the broken wing? All right. So you change the actual surroundings that they're in, or you change the circumstances. Then from there, you fan the flames, all right? And you get them to do the rise like the phoenix.
Okay.
And then you lift. So it's about knowing them every single day. One of the people that is on my team began as a gentleman who struggled, you know, real bad. And he came to the team, and then from being on the team, he's done $2.4 million in 1 year. Which in the home improvements industry, fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would say in many industries, that's fantastic.
Well, this is net numbers as well. This isn't like airy-fairy pie in the sky stuff. This is he took home $250,000 before bonuses because we helped him. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of that. So that's G.A.S leadership in a nutshell, you know.
So basically, equip someone with the environment, knowledge, tools necessary to help them succeed based on what they want and what's best for them.
Yep.
There's a quote that I always go to, which is, "You cannot influence someone unless you know what already influences them." Trying to help someone work out, typically what you need to do is identify what their goals are, and then you can kind of help them. And the 5 fundamental pillars of natural fitness, which I spoke on in Boston, it's like, which tools do we need to leverage to get you what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to motivate somebody most to become their best. So I have several different questions I wanted to bring up.
Several thousand.
Yeah. One of them was, you kind of just described G.A.S leadership as what I would consider you being a mentor to this eagle with a broken wing.
Sure.
Now he's an eagle soaring on his own, and now he's going to be a leader for other people.
Yeah,
so
we use
you're
the buddy-buddy system.
Okay.
Absolutely. So it's another thing, brings it back to the military. You have to care. That guy that was in the trench next to me, well, I helped him up,
Yeah.
You help your team members. That's what you do. No man left behind is what the military does. Well, with my company, which is Precision Home Remodeling Group, right, out of Boston, we don't leave a homeowner behind, and we don't leave our employees behind.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. All right. So that's one of our core cultural values.
Love it.
Yeah. And that means I have to look in the mirror every single day and say, have I left anyone behind? And you bet the answer best be no.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to have a good day.
Yeah, and you've had that moment where it wasn't, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I have a flashcard in my pocket where I track my critical numbers, and I rate myself on 6 things. One of them is my bank account balance. One of them is my relationship status. One of them is my mentors. One of them is my dream team. My dream team rating, if it's below like a 6 or 7, I usually am leaving someone behind, so to speak, and I put their name in parentheses as a reminder to reach out that day. You mentioned at the speech to reach out and take initiative. It's your job as a leader to help someone else. Do you have a system in place where you're like, okay, I have someone I need to help today, like that, like I just described?
Yes. So every morning at 6:30 a.m., I go through the team members in my phone, and I either give them a call or shoot them a text, shoot them an email, and reach out. Every night, we tuck them up in bed. That's exactly what we do every single day.
Every day.
Monday through Sunday. Every day, without fail.
I love it.
I do love that.
When he
That's
says every
awesome.
day, I want to do this. What about Christmas?
Every day.
I knew it. I love that.
They're probably at my house for Christmas. There you go.
Okay, nice. Perfect.
I love your mindset behind, like, we're always talking about just be the best version of yourself you can be. You could be the most successful businessman ever and just be an asshole, or you could be the most successful businessman ever and be a nice person. I think regardless of who you are, you should just be a nice person. No matter where, I don't care how much money you have, I don't care what your job is. Like, I'm super passionate about that. Alan knows.
Yeah.
I had somebody, I was a guest on a podcast recently, Andrew Copeland, shout out to you, and he asked me, we were talking about money, and I said, I don't think money will change me as a person. Why? Actually, you know what? It will change me. It'll allow me to increase my reach and change more lives. So last week, I went to the mall with a young lady. Alan knows this story. She fears talking to people. She's afraid to start conversations. So I said, cool, I'll meet you at the mall, and I'm going to put you through your paces. I will teach you how to talk to people. Let's do it. And I told Alan, she sent me an audio message, and I cried. I cried because I was so happy that I was able to help her. And I want to do that. The more money I have, the more resources I have, the more people I'll be able to help.
Yeah.
So you have a very nice house.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Did you
so
visualize this level of success? How did you, a lot of people have vilified, is that the word?
Yeah, totally.
Vilified money and finance and wealth. How did you get to where you are, and what mindset did you have when it came to money, wealth, that sort of thing? I think that's super important to talk about.
You're touching on loads of stuff.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
number one.
I'm all over the place, Jonathan.
Houses, cars, fancy watches, I don't know, manicures, pedicures, going on fantastic vacations, holidays, all that sort of thing. That does not mean success. None of that does. All right. I have this house, which, in my honest opinion, is a modest house, and I know that there's people that live in stick huts, and there's people at the top of my street that live in multi-million-dollar mansions. I always tell everyone
and they're your
I'm
clients, right?
Yeah, thankfully. I'm just the guy that lives at the bottom of the hill, with, I'm the gypsy guy at the bottom of the hill. I don't mow my lawn. I haven't mowed it yet, What can I say? I'm not too fast. I'm busy working. I'll get someone else to mow it if I can later.
Amen to that.
Yeah,
It's called leverage. Yeah.
Yeah, but so material things do not matter. Why is it? It's nice to have them. Because it allows you to have a lifestyle. It allows you to affect change on other people. So to come back to my original piece of the puzzle, which was, I grew up in a 3-story council house estate with all sorts of badness going around. And I didn't know that because I'm living in it and I'm a young kid and I'm like, oh, hey, here's what it is.
Yeah.
But I know it now. And so I made a promise to myself, and what happened was I left for the army, first time I'd ever gotten on a train and stuff, hilarious. I'm there with like 3 big old bags trying to fit through London Euston Station. I'm like, this is not working out.
I did that with my podcast stuff on the train.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
In London, yeah.
Yeah,
In
but
London.
that's the thing. And I'm tiny. Like, as I say, you boys hit the gym, I look at a gym, I do my best. Got some MMA mats in the basement. We have some fun.
Absolutely.
All right? But so when I came back from my first 6 months away in the army, I sat there and said, wow, I don't want to ever have to settle and be in a position where I'm in this routine, all right? And I don't ever want, if I ever have kids and a family, for them to ever have to be in that position.
What do you mean by this routine?
Okay, so I got friends of mine back in England who will get up on a Monday hungover, go to work, go to the pub at 5 o'clock on a Monday night, do that same routine every single day. On a weekend, complain that they have no money. They don't go and do the best that they can for themselves, and they sit there and just set the world to rights on a Sunday because apparently that's their God-given right.
Yeah.
Sure, you can sit and chat crap about anything. You can moan, whinge, whine, do all of that. That is not going to get you anywhere.
Oh, man.
And so it doesn't. And so I sit there and I say, okay, well, let's look at the positive piece, not the silver lining in every cloud and all that crap. No, seek out the positive.
Yeah.
Be a badass of positive change and start with you. Because how do you plan to change your surroundings if inside of yourself you're a fake? I mean, you can't sit there and say the world is great if you don't actually live a great world. You're setting up here. My daughter comes upstairs and she's like, Daddy, can we play Ed Sheeran Perfect? I'm like, sure, of course we can.
Yeah.
And she's dancing around my office.
I know, while we're setting up.
And she's 3.5 years old. That is success.
It was beautiful.
That is success.
Alan said this is like a scene from a movie.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it really was. You were like, welcome to my world. You know, it's
but some days it's not quite as easy.
yeah, oh yeah,
Let's be
for
real
sure.
about
That's the beautiful moments, the magic moments.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the daddy. Watch me be a ham. I'm gonna ham it up. I'm gonna make this look great.
You called that, by the way. As soon as
yeah.
you came in, she was so shy. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, she'll be a ham in 10 minutes. You
Yeah.
watch.
I don't even
Love
think it was 10 minutes. It might have been 5.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was quick.
Keep going.
But so that's the first piece of it, right? So that success, in my personal opinion, is not the things that you have around you from a tangible aspect, okay? When you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? Do you take 10 minutes in the morning? Because I do every morning. I lay in bed for 10 minutes and just chill, all right? Let my mind go blank, just relax, take life easy, and I just enjoy the fact that today's going to be a cool day. I set my mind up for that, and I can have hell thrown at me. I mean, last night at 9:30, I was at a client's house because she was a little upset. It happens, it's construction. It's not perfect, but it's we fixed it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So that's at 9:30 at night. By the time I'm done and home at like 10 o'clock at night, that client's happy. We don't have an issue. We're moving forwards. Everything's groovy. This morning I wake up. I'm straight in there with my sales team and my sales manager. I'm like, okay, Josh, talk to me. How's everything going? He's geared up. The positivity's starting to flow. You've got all of these positive cogs moving. And what happens, success for me is that my family never have to worry about a financial issue. All right? That is success because the stresses that I went through, I mean, I would walk 4 or 5 miles to the Salvation Army place at the church to go get 24 cans of stewed steak. And as I say, this isn't a woe is me, this is just a reality. My mum didn't have any money, so we had to go get free food every 2 weeks. And that's how it works. And now, I mean, if my daughter said to me today, Daddy, can we have a steak tonight? I'll be like, absolutely, honey. You know, am I going to make her earn it? Am I going to ask her to clean her toys up or do something in the house? Absolutely. All right, because it's a treat. But at least I'm able to turn around and say, you know, heaven forbid I drop dead tomorrow. Everyone's taken care of. Everyone. I've got all of the life insurance policies in place. Everything's done, you know. And my wife knows that, so it gives her a sense of security. Well, that sense of security I didn't have. So you know what? That was an invisible little check item for me as a kid.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that my family has a sense of security.
So that they're fully enabled to live the life they want rather than the one that's necessary like you had to do?
Yeah, the necessary life, I think is a great way to put it, but absolutely.
I love it.
You know,
I love it. So there's a book called Made in America by Sam Walton.
Cool.
And he was the founder of Walmart. Basically, $160 billion of net worth when he passed away.
Yeah.
He said in that book something that really struck me. He said, how do you motivate a grandchild in this case for him, who knows that they will never once go without for anything?
Oh.
I really want your take on this.
All right, so
because
this is easy.
Okay, I love it. Hammer
So my kids don't know that they've got cash.
Oh, that's what it is. All right,
Straight
a lack
up.
of awareness. See, Sam Walton didn't
Absolutely.
have that
No,
luxury.
no, yeah.
Because everyone
Absolutely.
knew he was the richest man on the planet.
Yeah, and even if for some, and I'm not rich by any means. You know, I do the right stuff. I'm very fortunate. You know, I have a nice place to live, and we're comfortable. That's where we're at. You know, I'll continue to grow the company. I've got a company in Northern California as well. We just launched that a few weeks ago, so we're growing that as well. So you know, we'll end up doing some good stuff.
Plus,
know?
we're speaking.
Oh yeah, good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're having a chat every now and again. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean we're speaking. Like we're going to be speaking.
No, I know.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I know.
All right.
I'm just messing with it. Sorry, bud. Sorry.
Alan can't take jokes. He doesn't know how to take a joke.
You're good. It's just the English side of me, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, it's
love
good.
it. Love it.
All right, so the kids will be removed from the gimme, gimme, gimme system as often as possible. And that, truth be told, like, they try it, and I slap them down for it. Metaphorically, of course. You know?
Yeah.
I think they probably knocked me out. But yeah, I will take stuff away. Like, you know, Isabella and Brighton both have a favorite toy, and one is a little puppy, and the other one is a Spider-Man. All right. They misbehave. They don't do stuff. We start removing things. My mum taught me one of the best things ever. You know, I was a little brat at one stage, and she literally stripped everything off of me. My TV out of the room, and this is a black and white TV, right?
Yeah.
And everyone else has got color TVs. So this is my first ever TV, and it's sat on a chair, and you got the two aerials and stuff, and you have to try and get just one channel. Right? So I'm like, I want to say I was like 12 years old or something, and I was just being a punk. And she's just like, all right, you're done. And she stripped everything, including my bedding. So I slept on the floor with a pillow and a blanket for the entire night, freezing. And she was just like, now you know what it's like to not have anything. You earn everything. And I would do exactly the same to my girls. I have no fear in that. If they stamp and whine, we don't do stamping feet, none of that. We behave, you know?
Interesting.
We did an episode on Has America Gone Soft? Like you just said, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, when it's gimme, gimme, they give. They just give.
It's because it's easy.
Right. Is it that? We always say, my favorite saying that I think I don't know if I created this or if I stole it from somebody. I think I created it.
Yeah,
but
probably.
there are two answers to every question. One is the easy one and one is the right one.
Yeah.
Is it really that simple in 99% of life? Like that you should just do the harder thing because it's going to pay off in the long run?
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know whether it be the harder thing either. It might be hard at first, but
Harder in the moment, better in the long term.
Right.
Yeah, because the other thing is, like, as I say, you guys are like beasts. You know, you look at me and I start to grow muscles. It's great, right? But so you guys go into the gym. You're going to smash out, let's say, 300 pounds or 300 kilos. You know, and you're just going to just bang out 8 reps, right? I'm going to be there with 100 kilos, and I'm going to be banging out 1 rep at a push. But when I do it again and again and again, we all know compound effect, and it gets better, right?
Amen.
So yeah, you keep doing it.
Shout out to the compound effect.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. I got all the cool books. I love them.
That's my favorite book of all time, by the way. Have I told you that?
Yeah.
Oh,
About
okay.
10 times.
Oh, it burned him.
All right.
Burned him.
God damn.
Love it.
Darren Hardy should be paying me to promote that damn book.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah. But so the thing is right. So everyone within your teams, with your children, with all of that sort of stuff, you have to do the hard piece first, and then after that, you need to do the hard piece again and again and again, and you'll nurture someone. You know, it's not about beating someone. It's not about demoralizing a child or a team member or anything like that. It's about saying, hey, this is where the line is. The line is in the sand. Don't cross it. If you do, it's not going to be good. They cross it. Hey, whoosh, quick, tap on the wrist. Sorry, I should have got the F-bomb there.
You're welcome to. You're welcome to.
Alrighty. No,
Yeah.
I won't. If I start, I won't stop.
Okay.
So a quick slap on the wrist, like, hey, come on, pull yourself together, but then you do that in a nurturing fashion, you'll see them coming up to the line, and that's why part of the team leadership piece is you have to give as much as you can passionately every single day. You have to act in congruence with what you're saying.
Of course, yeah.
If I tell my team I'm going to do something, if I say, hey, don't cross that line or you'll get a slap, and then they cross the line and you let them off,
yeah.
no,
Credibility
game
gone.
on.
If you're crossing
Gone.
your own lines, then
Yeah.
that's not leading by example, and then you
Absolutely.
lose all credibility.
Yep. All
So
of that
you have to
stuff.
hold yourself to your own standards in order to expect to lead others, right?
And that's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's just not
That's
easy
the
at
hardest
all.
part.
Yeah. But then you see everything through their eyes, right? And so you see their days getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. You're like, oh, here we go. I see the line coming. You got to be like, you got to grab them and lift them again.
Yeah.
And move them into the right zone.
Can you give us an example of that without having to oust anybody?
All right.
Because I just want to talk practicality here for a minute.
sure.
Because
So
we've
I
been
have-
talking a lot of theory.
That's fine.
Let's
So
do it.
sales rep turns around and he goes out on 3 deals. First deal of the day, he hasn't quite done everything that he's meant to.
Like prep work wise, to prepare.
In the appointment,
Oh,
there's
okay.
an 8-step system. It's not rocket science. You just have to do it. All right.
Okay.
And so he shortcuts one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he got up a little late. Maybe there was a flat tire, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And so deal number 1 ends up not happening. If at the end of deal number 1, I say, it's okay, it's your first of 3, don't worry about it, I just shot myself in the foot.
Okay.
All right. I need to turn around and say, whoa. Hold up there, Bessie. Rewind. Okay, so let's start off with the warm-up, or let's start off with the pre-appointment. What time did you get there? 10:02. What time were you meant to be there? 10 a.m. Why were you late? Okay, no
Flat tire.
excuses.
Yeah.
Flat tire. Don't care. Spare.
Yeah.
You should have been there 20 minutes early, right? Yeah. So, wrong answer, you know what I mean?
Oh, jeez.
So then you move into the warm-up, and you say, okay, so how'd the warm-up go? Well, I had to rush it. Why did you have to rush it? No one told you had to rush a warm-up. And they're just like, well, because I only had 90 minutes, and they'll start giving you excuses. So you were late. So that was the knock-on effect,
Yeah.
And then you push all the way through, and you find that because he rushed a warm-up, he ended up not having enough ability to close at the end, and he didn't give enough value on the project, and as a result, we didn't get the deal.
Yeah.
And now
And the whole team suffers because of that.
Absolutely, that's
And
marketing dollars.
You make that clear.
Yeah. Everyone. I mean, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, they're great on it.
Greatest team, arguably.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
Struggle with
Go
that.
ahead.
I'm a Niners fan. Go Niners.
I don't think anyone can argue their team.
I was in a Tony Robbins seminar, and I was very fortunate to see not Bill Belichick. Tom Brady.
Tom
Sorry, I was
Brady,
having a
yeah.
moment.
And Edelman was there.
Yeah,
and
Edelman was there,
I was
yeah.
there at that event too,
Nice,
by the
good.
way.
All
Yeah,
right,
hell
nice,
yeah,
sweet.
nice.
So
go to events, people.
yeah, it works. Actually,
Go
it
to
does.
events
Yeah.
because you'll meet awesome people.
You'll
Go
be
ahead.
surprised who you meet.
Yeah.
And so it ends up that he spoke about the fact that whenever you have the ball, you don't just have your life in your hands. You have every single person on that team and their families' lives in your hands.
Yeah, literally.
And that is what we try and create as a culture within our companies, because that's the same culture that we have from the British military.
Yeah.
So
Your
there's-
success is our success, and vice versa. Keep
yeah,
going.
absolutely. Teamwork does make the dream work. But you have to actually work. That's
Yeah.
the piece of it. If you don't work, it don't work. Nothing happens. Nike's phrase, just do it, is real cool. Do.
Yeah.
Do. Get off your backside and do. you know. And that's like when you said to me, hey, John, we'd love to come up and have a chat. And I was just like, I could have given you every excuse on the planet as to why not. You know, absolutely, because as you know, it's time, it's work, it's all that sort of thing.
It's the weekend.
Yeah. You know, but no, I like doing this thing. So screw it, why not? Let's help some team members out. Let's have some fun. Let's see what works.
Love
you
it,
know? And that's what it's all about.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, how many other people can you help at zero cost, and you'll be surprised what comes back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, one of the first things you said was, I have a buddy that I think you guys should sit down with. I think he'd be great. It's like, okay, so what if we didn't come here today? Like, what if Alan woke up and said, you know what, man, I'm not feeling it today, which he wouldn't do because Alan is next level. But somebody might, right? You know what? I had a late night last night. I went out for drinks, and we didn't come, and I've already learned so much. I resonate with you highly.
Yeah.
Just because it's all practical to me. What you're saying makes so much sense that I'm a very visual person, and I can see everything you're saying. So it resonates with me super, super highly. One of the things that Alan and I have talked about is when you're focusing on self-growth, a lot of times you can outgrow those around you.
Ooh.
Because they might not necessarily believe in themselves, they might not have the vision, they might not want it.
They might not be doing the work.
I'm sure you've experienced it, or is there a way, how do you break through to somebody? Because you said you can't change somebody that doesn't want it for themselves. If they don't want to make the change, nothing's going to facilitate that change. How do I bring somebody with me that doesn't know that they don't want it yet?
You don't. Don't try and drag someone up a hill. It doesn't work, you know. It really doesn't. So I think the piece of the puzzle is you're wanting it for someone else more than they want it for themselves. Yeah. So that has to roll reverse, you know. That's the basics of it. You can inspire someone to action, inspire someone to change. You can show them as much as you can about themselves, but until there's that aha moment where they literally wake up, look in the mirror, and say, you know what, today's the day, then they're not going to change for the long term. You'll get short spurts. That's why people go to the gym every January. January the 1st. So January the 2nd, it's like, all right, I got this. You know, I die laughing when I see this because, you know, we see it around here. The little joggers.
Every springtime. Yeah. Every spring, people are asking me questions. Where were the questions in the winter?
Yeah, they're in the best, fanciest clothes. They've got spandex that cost them $600.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know, they're in the latest Nike or whatever trainers. You know, and I rock up in a pair of trainers which I've used for like 15 years, which are the comfortablest trainers. I've run 3 marathons in them, and you know, running the San Francisco Marathon beats sitting in the gym with a bunch of sweaty folks that don't know what they're doing. So by the end of January, the gym's thinned out, and I'm like, yay, gym season's over, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it's that kind of thing. You get that same. That's where you get that heartbeat effect and the peaks and the valleys in it. You know. So to get someone who's on your team, you have to, first and foremost, good leaders ask great questions, as we know. All right, John Maxwell.
Oh, amen to John Maxwell.
Not a good
one
book,
of my favorite authors.
All right, so you got to start asking the questions. You know, I don't know who the team member is in question, but let's say it's someone who's on your team and they're just not performing how you want them to perform. You know, have those one-on-ones with them. And one-on-ones, you know, do it in a comfortable setting. It could be out to lunch. It could be sitting in a park, you know, outside the office, on a park bench, whatever it may be, or in the office. If they're that way wired, sit them down, have a chat, but have structure to it. Think about it before you start asking, because you're going to want to go from coach to awakener. And that's a big piece which people miss, you know. And to come back to, as I say, the British military, I could be the coach which whacks someone on the head with a shovel, almost knocks him out, and that guy wants to kill him. Or I can be the awakener who says, hey, bud, you know, the behaviors that you have right now are causing you to have these consequences. If we change this particular behavior, you will see a different outcome. Will you go on a journey with me for the next 30 days? I'll journey it with you. Let's have some fun. Who knows? We both might learn something cool, right?
Oh, I love it.
Now, that's Tony.
Yeah.
One of my team members, Tony, he turned around to me, and I said this on the... at the speech, yeah, you know, at the event. I was like, you guys want to know how to lead teams, how to do a great job. Well, Well, it's real simple. Take the person that you know to be a potential eagle, assess, find out what their broken wing is, help them fix the broken wing aspect, all right?
Which is usually their habits, right?
Yeah.
Either thoughts or actions,
Yeah,
or both?
behaviors.
Okay,
Behaviors is
behaviors.
the one piece because,
Okay.
mental behavior and physical behavior, they both end up coinciding at some stage.
Yeah, inputs and outputs.
Yeah.
Like the
What
Newton's
you
third
think,
law. Yeah.
what you think you do.
Okay.
I mean, it's that simple.
So how do you know the difference between, sorry to interrupt
That's
you,
fine.
but the difference between a mental, because a lot of people tell themselves a story. I had a kid come up to me in the gym yesterday. He said, I love your podcast. I was like, awesome. I don't usually like to be
Thank
interrupted in
you.
the gym, but
He's
interrupt
famous,
me anytime to
folks.
say that.
He's famous.
Love it. But immediately I looked at him, and he's in great shape, right?
Right.
And he asked me immediately, he's like, you're competing soon, right? And I'm like, yeah, man, June 2nd, hell yeah. He's like, oh, you're looking great. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Like, you should compete too. He has a great physique on him. He would kill it in men's physique, honestly. And immediately he said to me, I don't want to compete because I have too many tattoos and the lights won't show my cuts. As long as that's the story you are telling yourself. There was a guy who almost destroyed me last year who had tattoos for days. That is a complete and utter excuse. It has nothing to do with that. Like, you can
It's a
absolutely
ceiling.
win. You're not the first bodybuilder to have tattoos who won a show. So that's a mental, to me, I immediately said, you'll never compete if you keep telling yourself that. That's a mental story. What's the saying? Give up the story of why you can't do something before you'll ever actually do it. Something like that.
Yeah, you got to quit on your stories. The only time you should ever quit is quit on the bullshit you tell yourself in your head.
Amen. Okay, so how do you
Absolutely.
tell the difference between a bad behavior habit, like action habit,
Yep.
versus mental story that's kind of holding them back? Because he won't take any actions toward competing, even though he would succeed. I know he would,
Yeah.
because his physique is next level. But if he keeps telling himself, my tattoos won't show my cuts, you're never going to even try.
I think the two different pieces would be I can't versus I'm trying. Yeah, I don't want to, I can't, I won't go and do X because there's something that just won't work.
Yeah.
All right? Like someone said to me, and I can't name and shame him, but I will maybe in 10 years' time when I kick his ass.
Yeah.
All right? So one of my, and he's a mentor of mine as well, so that's the cool
Ooh,
piece.
that's
He's just like,
Awesome.
John, you can't run a company on the East Coast and run a company on the West Coast. Just don't happen. It never works.
Interesting. Limiting story.
I was like, hold on a minute. Richard Branson does it.
Oh, yeah. Except 400 companies,
Yeah.
by the way.
One of them's in bloody China.
Yeah.
One of them's in Australia, and
Right.
he's chilling out in London.
Oh, yeah. He's in an air balloon.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the first phrase that came to my mind was, well, you can kiss my ass. That ain't happening. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
All right? I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But so that's the piece is, Tony Robbins, love the guy. He says, unleash the power within. All right. So there is a mental block on that person. So that person that you just described, total mental block.
Yeah.
Now you've got someone else who's like, John, I'm struggling. John, I can't seem to. It's a different phraseology.
Yeah.
And so it's about listening. It's listening to that person as to what they're saying. Are they talking about a mental piece of it, or are they talking about an actual physical
Yeah.
action which they're struggling with? John, can you help me lift this car above my head? No, I can't, because I'm not Hercules like you two crazy folks right here. But I most definitely know a few people that can.
Yeah.
You know?
Amen.
Or, John, you could never lift that car above your head. Oh, no, don't test me,
Yeah.
because I'll show you how I can lift that car
Yeah.
above
Give
my
me a
head.
certain amount of time,
Yeah.
training. You can
Absolutely.
do it. Amen.
So that's the piece, in my opinion. Does
I
that
love that. It helps a lot. I walked away from that conversation and I thought to myself, like, as long as he keeps saying that to himself, he will never compete, even though I know he would do a very good job.
If I was to offer you $1 million right now to go and compete, win or lose, would you compete?
Yes.
Are you asking me? Absolutely.
I'd
I'm
say
doing
then.
it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd say that to
Yeah,
him.
yeah. That's what I
And
said.
then so a great question will get him thinking, which will change his story.
Yep.
That's such great leadership. Great leaders ask great questions.
Yeah, you got it.
On the ride up here, remember? So I had this thought yesterday. You literally become what you think you are. So if you think you're a success, you will become that. If you have those limiting beliefs. So this is called the Hyperconscious Podcast because we want to dig in that mind and figure out the
What's holding
thoughts
us back.
Yeah, what is holding us back? The thoughts that I have that I'm afraid to travel, I'm afraid of planes, I'm afraid of sharks, whatever it is.
If I may, you've
Sure.
been conditioned.
Right.
Right, so this is the thing, right? So I love my sister to pieces, but she's been conditioned in a certain way, and it took her years to break out of that. All right? So, she's actually coming here. She moved to Australia. She's a police officer. The girl is a rock star. All right, love her to pieces. But she didn't begin that way.
Yeah.
You know, she began as kind of a quiet little mouse, and she had to go through a lot of different things to help her break through that conditioning. So I teach you. I'd say teacher. I'll show you one of the things that I was taught is when Isabella and Brighton first ever started walking and they would fall over. All right, I didn't care. We would clap.
Oh, because you were on a award, The Failing Forward, which is another great John Maxwell book, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, awesome.
Man, he's going to reel them all off. I hope John Maxwell's got a tissue here. He should be drying his eyes right now. He's going to be crying with joy.
I'm hoping to talk to him, get him on the podcast at some point.
Oh, yeah, you
Let's
should.
put it out in the universe.
All right,
you know?
cool. I know a couple of people who know a couple of people.
Do
So,
you?
There you go. Yeah.
All right.
We digress.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the whole point behind it is that we praise them for taking the action and the forward momentum. All right, and so then what would happen is they'd be outside and they'd go hurtling down the street and stack it, and I'd be like, oh, no, oh, that's gotta hurt. And Isabella, she'd get up. The first thing she says, "It's okay, I'm okay, nobody worry." And everyone's just like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the child two seats down fell off the side of a seat or
And
something,
started
crying her eyes out. Mummy and Daddy, I need an ice cream to make me feel better. I need toys. I need something to take the pain away.
Interesting.
No, you don't. Use your brain cells. All right. You're fine. Are you breathing? Yes. Are you bleeding? Yes. That means your heart's still beating.
Yeah,
so
that's
all
a positive.
In all, you're good.
You're definitely resonate with Kevin a lot.
Yeah,
He's such
so-
a no excuses, like stop sugarcoating
Just
things
do
kind
it.
of guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on,
If
man.
you want,
Yeah.
somebody asked, like, if you want to get up early, set your alarm, and when your fucking alarm goes off, get out of bed.
Right?
All right,
And
so
that's
listen,
it.
I'm that guy. I struggle with this right now because I finish work late and stuff like that, right? And that's a poor excuse. but
Okay, love
it is
it.
what it is,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so alarm clock went off this morning at 6:30, but I actually woke up at 5:17 a.m. and I don't know why today. I woke up at 5:17 a.m. and normally I'd be like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going straight back to bed, you know. But I woke up. And for some reason, I was excited for the day. Maybe because you guys are coming.
I was gonna say it, but
hyperconscious podcast.
But it was cool. So I just kind of chilled out a little bit. Normally, I'd be the guy which would hit snooze on my alarm. All right. Because of the level of what I'm pushing at right now, you know, when you see like Gary Vaynerchuk and all the other guys who are like, yeah, you got to hustle, work. Well,
Not at the expense of your health.
Well, that's the thing. So
Yeah.
I don't advocate that that you should kill yourself, but I will push out a 48-hour stint straight. Like my team think I'm nuts.
Without sleep?
Without sleep. I just do it for the hell of it.
You're a sicko.
Yes, I'm
It's one of the
absolutely
fundamental
sicko.
pillars of natural
Yes,
fitness,
you
Jonathan.
have to get sleep.
You
I
got to
know.
get sleep,
I'm
man. That's
sorry,
not
mate.
sustainable.
I know I'm breaking the rules, but the reality is
You need a trainer.
when the workload demands it, you get up, you get it done. That's my hustle. Don't stop until it's done. And again, one of my mentors, you know, from over in California, he said to me, he's like, John, you're a different breed to me because if I have a job to do and it's not quite done on a Friday, I'll wait till Monday to finish it. He's like, you won't.
Yeah.
You will go. And then when it's done, we're done, you know? And so that's a piece of the puzzle is...
I use the restroom real quick.
Yeah,
Keep going.
go for it. Yeah. It's all right, we'll hang out. We'll wait for you. Come on.
No, yeah, you can keep going.
We can?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
If
right,
Alan
well,
misses it, that's
you're
his
gonna
fault.
miss- this is what we call the $1 million minute.
Oh, well,
right.
you better take 30 seconds, Alan.
It takes $1 million out of your pockets when you miss it. But yeah, I mean, that's the piece, mate. So I do believe in the hustle. I'm a big fan of it. I'm also a big fan of no excuses, you know. Instead of presenting a problem, let's present the problem and a solution, or a possible solution, or at least handbrake your ass for 2 minutes and say, all right, how the hell do I get through this? Because this is the piece, right? And this is what we're going to miss. It is not hard to come up with the answer in the world. We are so bloody smart up here. The hardest thing to do in the world is to ask the right question.
Yeah.
That's the piece.
I think I have learned. So asking you questions, like I assume it's going to go a certain way when I ask a question, right? And then I learn 5 other things.
Sorry, bud.
No, I absolutely, like I said, I resonate, I think, most highly with you out of everybody I've ever sat down with.
I appreciate that.
And I just feel, ever since we walked into the house, I always test the energy. Like Alan knows this. And it was just super warm and welcoming and inviting. So it's just,
Oh yeah.
I am super grateful to be able to sit down with you, and I think it's fucking awesome. And I'm going to say the F word because
'cause
why
that's
not?
the F-bomb, yeah.
Why not?
That's how awesome it is.
That's
Nice.
how awesome
I
it is.
appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
For sure.
Appreciate
And we
it,
got
man.
high
It's cool.
fives from the kids and
Yeah.
hugs
Yeah.
and everything.
And you have a
That's-
giant fish on your wall.
Oh, the marlin, the thing that's twice the size of me. That you
I don't fish.
too much tequila in Florida, or what's that story?
Oh, man, you're killing me. You're
Can
killing
we?
me.
Can we?
Sure.
All right, let's rock it. Let's rock it.
I won a sales trip. Sales manager, won a sales trip, went to Puerto Vallarta, had a great time. My wife was like 8 months pregnant or something, or I forget exactly why she couldn't go, but something was going on. And so I took her cousin with me. It's like 8 p.m. at night, and me and the cousin have had a couple of tequilas, shall we say.
Oh, it was tequila. How did I know that?
Yeah, and then it ends up that we said, well, let's go fishing. We've got 24 hours until the plane takes off, and we decide to go fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Why not? You're in Mexico. Let's go fishing.
Yeah, no rules.
All right. So we end up at a dock at midnight, pitch black, with $1,000 on us to pay the man to go fishing. Everyone else who said they were going to come bailed. All right.
Yeah.
So standard. So we went out. We did the fishing. We get out of the Bay of Puerto Vallarta. And my buddy Alex is like throwing up everywhere. Like he gets super seasick. So I'm dying laughing. I'm still drinking the case of beer, which the guys brought over for us. 6 hours later, we get out to the fishing ground. 7 a.m., we drop the fishing lines in. And here I am watching the sun come up over whatever it was, like the outcropping of islands that
Prime
we
fishing
saw.
time, though.
Oh, it was prime fishing
Yeah.
time, yeah. And within an hour, this big-ass marlin hops on the hook. Now, my wife's Portuguese, right? So they're all about fishing. They're all like, yeah, all that kind of thing. I'm English.
Yeah.
I think I've caught a trout once. And that was by pure accident. I think it was dead and I caught it with a fishing net. But I was very happy that day. We didn't eat it for obvious reasons. It didn't look too healthy. But then here I am, and now I'm sat in this captain's or commander's chair, whatever the hell you call it, strapped in, and I'm reeling for dear sweet Jesus, And this fish was hooked perfectly bad for me, because normally the hook goes in, rips the guts out, you fish for like half an hour, you pull the fish in, everyone's a winner. No, this fish had a hook right in the side of his jaw, and so it was just lodged perfect.
How many pounds? This is huge. This thing is literally 2 times the size of me.
Yeah, this fish is
I'm
massive.
guessing 300 pounds. Like,
Yeah, it's a 350-pound fish.
350.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it's on his wall.
Jesus.
It's the biggest fish I've ever caught in my life,
It's
and it's
the
the
biggest
only
fish anyone's ever caught.
No. They
No.
go up to 1,000 pounds.
The marlins?
Marlins go up to 1,000, like 1,100 pounds. And this is the thing. I know nothing about this, guys. I'm just all about let's
Clearly
get out
we don't
there,
either.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with just having fun. Again, in the military, it is a piece of never say no to any opportunity. Some of them are going to be bad, sure.
Yeah.
But you know what? Some of them are going to turn out pretty damn hilarious.
Right?
All right. And this one just happened to. So it ends up, it's 11 a.m. The fish just got reeled in. There was a solid 4 hours of reeling that thing in.
No
Now, we're
kidding.
still 6 hours away. I'll give you a newsflash. My flight left at 3. So you can do the math. The numbers don't quite add up. So what had actually happened is, whilst we were out, the maids had come in, packed up all of our stuff in our suitcases, and put them in the concierge, right? We were still out fishing. We're trucking our way back in. We get the guy on the boat to radio into the hotel to say, or get on the phone to the hotel to say, hey, we're really sorry, we're running late. And I'm expecting that we're going to miss the flight. Oh, we'll have to get new ones, and is what it is,
Yeah.
And we just briefed the wife. But it's a great story. Everyone will love it.
Yeah.
As it happens, the flight was delayed till 7 p.m. that night.
Interesting.
I was like, get in there. So
All
me and
right.
Alex get off the boat, stinking of fish, because we just reeled this fish in. We did the standard photo where you've got your arms underneath the fish. You've got this whopping big fish. And we said, let's give all of the fish to the captain. I mean, we gave him 300 pounds of fish.
Yeah, that'll last a while.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that he made a killing off of that.
Oh, I'm sure he
'Cause I
did.
was like super pumped.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they measured all of the fish up. They have this thing where they do a taxidermy piece of it. So they basically take the head and the front, and they send it off to Florida, but they've taken a bunch of photos. They take a bunch of measurements. And long and story short of it, that fish ends up being fully built out of fiberglass with all of the right colors and everything else. And it's on my wall. I don't know, mate. It was just, my wife looked at me and she was like, "Are you serious?"
Right.
Well,
I'm surprised she let you hang it.
I know.
It's a great story, man.
So this is the thing. So we had nowhere to hang this fish for like 4 years. All right, because I was in California.
To buy a new house to hang this fish.
Straight up, when we bought this house. So this is as nuts as it is. We'd all, me and my wife had said, "Oh, we'll move somewhere, and we'll get a nice house and what have you." This house came on the market. I saw this house. We did the whole FaceTime thing around it. And I said, you know what? I love the house. It's got everything we want. We love our family coming over. So it's big kitchen, big living room area.
Yeah,
join,
the island is sweet.
Yeah.
Joined.
But
yeah.
then
It's
that's
very
the thing.
open, too. It's like...
Yeah, cathedral ceiling, so it's open, right? But that's what we wanted, so that everyone can just have fun. And it's not a party house, but just a family house,
Yeah.
Well, like what you said, the warm energy,
For sure.
Feng shui
and-
was the term we used.
Oh, yeah, very nice, yeah.
We said that to your wife. Very feng shui.
Yeah, it's crap everywhere is what I use. But yeah, so it ends up, we see the house, and I'm not joking, mate, that fish fits on there within an inch.
Yeah.
Like straight up. From tail to nose, it fits on there with an inch. I was like, well, that was just meant to be then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't have gone to any other house to fit a 10.5-foot fish in on the side of a wall where there used to be a clock. So, yeah.
That is valid.
Sorry.
No, no, don't be sorry. That's awesome. So, whenever I meet people who are, I don't know what the correct term would be, who are leading their own life, living life on their own terms, who have like a lot of grit, perseverance, sweat equity, sacrifice, due diligence. Those are all terms that I would use to describe you. You kind of find out stories about them, and you're like, I don't know, he's a little nuts to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Batshit
crazy is what most people
a little, like, you gotta be a little out of the box a little. So I have a story. I'm in prep right now. I've got a show June 2nd, and I'm leaving the house to go on a run. It's like 10 p.m. And it's like, there's been black bears around where I live.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to run around the block, because if I'm afraid of a black bear, I'm probably going to run faster. And I hear something in the woods. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, okay, pack of coyotes, there's fisher cats, there's black bears we've literally taken pictures of in this neighborhood. And I'm running at 10 o'clock at night, and there's no cars. I mean, this is the woods, right? And I'm like, I could totally get killed by a bear today. And you want to talk about those moments when you're only in the moment? This was those moments. And so I'm pulled by my fitness show and wanting to win it, and I'm pushed by not getting killed by a bear. And I literally have this moment where I'm like, I think I'm fucking crazy for doing this.
No, you're living life.
Yeah, exactly,
You're
right?
all good.
Yeah.
You just move. You move out of inspiration or desperation.
In this
All
case,
right.
it was both. I actually said literally that to Kevin. It's thank you so much. So, what's your take about being a leader and being willing to? I literally had this moment where there was a house and there was lights, and when I heard that thing in the woods, I went straight up to the house almost. I probably freaked them out. If they saw me, they would have been like, "Who's this shirtless dude?" He's pretty yoked though.
Naked as well.
Yeah,
right? That's a lose-lose.
Naked in the
Because
woods
there was
with
a
a bear.
street lamp, and I was like, "Oh my god, I would run in this house if I saw a bear." And then I had this moment where I could have turned back because there was street lights on that section. I'm going around the block, and I'm about to go to the darkest place where there's a brook down at the bottom, and I'm like, "Okay, bears like water, animals, the whole thing." So I'm like, I could turn back.
Like fish.
They like fish, exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't know if they were in that brook though. There's no salmon in there. You're all good.
No, so there are freshwater salmon in that. Oh yeah, for sure,
you're screwed.
for sure. Yeah. So I had this moment where I'm like, I could turn back,
Right.
and I would definitely be fine. Or I can push through this fear, own my amygdala, and say, "Fuck it, I'm doing it anyway." And I chose option 2. And Kevin said that I was reckless,
Reckless.
and I agree.
Nope.
But
Okay,
there's a reason
what's your
why.
take on that?
Because
And-
his idol died. Your
Greg
idol,
Plitt?
the person you want to be, died
Yeah.
doing something reckless like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see the same thing out of him. Imagine, Jonathan, if I had to tell everybody he got eaten by a bear. I could make it funny probably, but
Pretty sweet, huh?
it's a pretty good story.
So we've digressed a bit, but I always say be fearless but never reckless. I would argue that was a little reckless, and I didn't realize it until I was right there in the pitch black at 10 at night going, wow, like I'm actually scared shitless for my life right now. You have life or death fear moments all the time. Richard Branson, he has those all the time. Like Tony Robbins, like all these people are trying to get control of their fear, and the only way to do that is to be afraid and do it anyway. For me, this was one of those moments. How do you tote the line of being fearless but not reckless? Because I would argue that drunk 6 a.m. going out fighting a marlin, never having fished, like that's a little reckless, wouldn't you think? I don't know.
I would say the piece that was reckless for that was midnight on the docks in a foreign town, in
Yeah.
a foreign country with $1,000 cash.
Right.
That's reckless.
Yeah, it's reckless, right?
I think most people just say that's just dumb and stupid.
Yeah,
But-
and not sober, right? So
yeah, no, I wasn't sober at all. I mean, the taxi took us to where he needed to take us. I remember that much.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
40 minutes away.
yeah,
I think there is an element of life experience. We get away with stuff, and I think if you recognize that you got away with it and behave next time, then that's the line that you draw. What I've found is that, as I was younger, no family as such, not married, no kids, that sort of thing. For me in the army, there was no reckless. I was just Superman on a daily basis.
yeah.
Like, that's how it was, I'd jump out of a window, wouldn't care. I'd throw grenades, I'd shoot rocket launchers and stuff, and I'd go running in the street where people are shooting. Well, it is what it is. That's what you do.
Those
And,
moments change you.
yeah,
Like life or death situations, going through them, doesn't it like build emotional muscle against fear, like a little bit? Like you've been in a lot of life or death situations.
sure.
So anything on the day to day, like you said, you wake up to a shitstorm in your business, like it's nothing in comparison.
No, yeah,
When you're squatting 500
Right.
pounds, 135 seems like nothing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're kind of in that with emotional fitness.
Yeah, emotional intelligence is huge. It is a massive, massive piece of the puzzle. As
How do
well as
people
emotional
build it?
Fitness.
That's like a really important piece.
There
'cause-
is no quick fix to this.
Okay.
There's no way.
Real quick, I just
Go on.
want to. So
Sure.
Kevin and I talked about this while we were setting up. I said I can already kind of tell the theme. It's going to be grit, perseverance, and what did I say? I said mental toughness.
Yeah.
I really wanted to ask you this question: how do people really actually build it? Because avoiding pain and fear, I think, is the opposite of building this part of someone.
Yeah, you
What's your
can't
take?
avoid. Yeah, you have to go into every single situation. As prepared as possible. But the military says no plan survives first contact. As a commander on the ground, you've got anywhere from, let's say, as a corporal, you've got 8 or 12 people in your command, right? In that section, and you're about to go and launch maybe a full frontal attack, or maybe you're going to do a Charlie fire team moves first, a Delta fire team moves second, all these different things, but you do not know what you're going to come up against.
Yeah.
So you have to be cool with the fact that you're going in as prepared as possible. And that's with business, that's with life. You're about to be a dad. You know what? I didn't know how to be a dad. I am not a kids person. I get where you see what you see earlier. I've learned that, But how I grew up was not in a hundreds of thousands of children environment. As I said, my wife's Portuguese. You know what it's like. Italians, Portuguese, Spanish. There's millions of them. They're like cockroaches when they come to a wedding. They come out from every corner. All right? And I love them. I give you a quick example. When I got married, I knew about 60 people in the wedding.
In the wedding.
That was it. I knew about 60 of them. Everyone else, there's like 200 people there. I'm like, and who's that? All right. And I get told that there's a lady from Canada who's a great aunt of someone's uncle who's at the wedding and sat down, and she's just like, "Hi, John," and I'm like, I have no clue who you are, but hi, how are you? Obrigada, what's cracking?
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed your free meal.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No,
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
they're good folks, they're good
No, I
folks.
know.
But that's the thing, right? So my breakthrough had to be, well, crap, I've got this child who, and again, I love my daughter Isabella, first kid, but from an emotional intelligence and a breaking through barriers piece in a real physical life world as opposed to military stuff, in civilian life, my daughter cried like a maniac for the first 9 months.
Yeah, you told
And
us that
I
in the
mean
preamble.
solid. And I could not console her. Just me. She had a shit on about me. All right? And I'm like, I just picked you up. I just did exactly what your mother did. Your mother does it. Boom. She's quiet.
Yeah.
All right? Now, I get it. There's some certain maternal things and all that jazz, But in order for me to prepare for being a father, because I hadn't ever been around that situation, I went to a Kaiser Permanente lesson. And they come in and they shut the doors, and there's about 20 dads in there, maybe 30, and you all sit on this long table, and there's a rule, and it's basically what happens in this room stays in this room. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but it's for the father's world.
Okay.
And you've got everything from Jewish people to Muslim people to Christians to Roman Catholics to every single different piece of the puzzle, to people who are like, I'm anti-TV, I will not allow for my children to be away from their mother, and all sorts of different beliefs.
Yeah.
And they share, and they show you, and they go through absolutely everything as to what they believe and what's going to happen next, and how do I want to live and raise my child and that sort of thing. And so what ended up happening was I came away from that being able to make a plan. And I sat down with my wife and I said, honey, I don't want to make rules, but I definitely want to have a guiding light. How do we want to live by with our children? How do we want to raise, our child? And that was huge. And so I'm walking into this. Yes, it's 9 months. Here we go. Gonna have a kid. Kid comes out. Congratulations, Dad. It's a girl. I'm like, no, it's not. It's meant to be a boy. But all right. And so then out pops a little girl. Cut the cord. Everyone's happy. Everyone's singing and dancing, healthy and all that sort of jazz. And I'm like, well, I can make my meeting in 2 hours. We're all good, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we get to well, Dad's changed the first diaper. Dad's done, some cool stuff. And now it's like day 1, day 2, and we're starting to live through it. We're home, and Isabella's she isn't settling down. Like every hour, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, and so I turn around to myself and I say, hold on, John, you got this. You've done sleep deprivation in the army. This will be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
So, that's the piece. So you go in with all of these thought patterns and these processes pre-lined. It's okay. Go in with them.
Yeah.
But be adaptable. So another piece that comes in, improvise, adapt, overcome. If you take anything away in life, you must always go in with a plan, an idea of what you want to do, a rough guide. The better the guide, normally the better the actions pan out, When you hit an obstacle, improvise. If you need team members, bring them in. 2 heads are better than 1. 10 heads are better than 2. All of that sort of thing. Bring your team together, improvise. Adapt to the changing environment that is happening on you right now. Overcome that obstacle, whether it be go left, right, or straight up and over, or dig a tunnel underneath and get up the other side. There's no reason why you cannot continue to move forwards in a positive light.
Yeah.
And, it was 9 months of hell.
So you had to re-equip. That's why you went to that event with the fathers in the room. Because you knew, like, I need to retool. I'm not equipped for this.
Yeah,
absolutely. You went in thinking you had a plan, and you did.
Yeah.
But then you hit an obstacle, like she won't stop crying for me.
Well, so it was before we'd actually had her.
Okay.
So I went in for the re-equip.
Oh, so that was part of the preparing then.
Well, it's hilarious. I picked up like 2 books. One was the Caveman's Guide to Being a Dad, and the other one was I know, mate, hilarious. All right, and the other one was the A to Z Guide to Being a Dad. None of them had anything in them which has resulted in what we've had. Like none of them. So my genuine piece of it is guide yourself. Give yourself as much knowledge as you can, but at the same stage, be okay when the shit hits the fan. It's cool. It's just. What is it they say? Life is 90% what happens. No, 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it,
I think that, so knowledge without action is useless, but I also think action without knowledge is useless. I always say you have to know better to do better.
Yep.
Like if you were to go to the gym and bench press just the barbell 300 times, 300 reps, 0 gains. So it's like this constant progression of working hard and working smart. So in this case with being a father, like you needed to build the knowledge base, the theory, so that you could then put it into practice once the daughter arrived.
Yep.
Then you tried to put it into practice, realized, shit, I don't know enough based on this situation, so you had to adapt and grow.
Yep.
And that's what you think will build grit over time for everybody? Is that the...
never stop. The minute you stop, it is game over. All right? You just don't stop. And that's the piece. I refuse to... There is no such thing as quitting. You can fail, sure, but as you said before, you fail forwards. If you knock me down, I'm going to land on my back, and I'm fine with that because I'm going to look up, I'm going to see the sky, get my ass back up, and I'm going to go again and again and again and again, and I won't stop until I win.
It has to be something you really want, though, right? Are there things that you chose to quit? Because I don't think that's quitting. If there's something that you realize, like, I don't want this anymore, I did want it, I no longer want it because... I now know more. I've grown. I always say your goals and dreams and vision will adapt and grow as you do. So let's say something was in your vision, you thought you wanted this, you realized, you know what, I actually want this instead. That's a choice, right? Rather than quitting?
Yeah, absolutely. You choose your own destiny. You know?
You have an example of something that you really thought you wanted, and then you were like, you know what, I'm gonna say no to that and choose this instead?
Yeah, I wanted to be the SAS, the regimental sergeant major of the SAS.
Okay.
And after I went to Iraq and spent 6 months running around, getting blown up, shot at, and all of the rest of it, I turned around, and it's not that I didn't want to do it anymore. It was just like, well, hold on a minute. Everything I thought I was going to do within the SAS and do the long-term career and all that sort of stuff, I'm now seeing that other people are in those roles, and they're not getting to do what I just did. So I just kind of did everything which I wanted to do. So it's all about a tick list for me and a checklist, you know. I know that folks in the SAS and SBS and Delta Force and Rangers and all of the other superstar guys out there, they do a lot more than what I could ever dream of doing, you know, from a military standpoint. And I take my hats off to them. I'm a huge veterans fan, you know. I wouldn't be sat here today if it wasn't for the military family that I have. So I'm like massive for those guys. But it's about what I wanted out of it, you know, and what I wanted out of it was to be able to say, well, hey, you know, I've gone through the ranks and I'm an absolute superstar and I've been into every single wartime environment. I've done all sorts of anti-terrorism stuff and blah, 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 blah. But then I found that my want had changed because after I'm running around Iraq, you know, it was great times, you know. Sun was out, it was a little bit dusty, you know, the odd bullet winged past your ear every couple of minutes. You know, you had to watch out for the kids who were radioing your location so that everyone started dropping mortars on your head. You know, those kind of fun things. But, you know, it changed. I decided, hold on a minute, I'm switching more into a monetary zone now. I'm switching more into that zone of I want to start the family life. I want to start building my own little team. You know, my own little fire team, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd seen from other people in the military world, you know, I'd seen that just their family life suffered so bad. And I was like, well, so is that really a route that I want? Is moving into the Special Forces role...
What age were you, just to bring context?
Like
if you don't mind?
22, 23.
No kidding. You were 23 and you decided to go more of the family route because
Yeah.
you saw people. So I try to say, when you see the people that are mentoring you and you don't want what they want, it's time to find another mentor.
Yeah, sure.
You can still keep that mentor because
Yeah.
there's always pieces to what they're doing that you can still learn from. But I think that as soon as there's incongruencies, that's a problem. So you were 23. You realized that the goal that you had set originally wasn't something that was now congruent with your highest values?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think one of the biggest sources of inner turmoil within us is when we're not behaving consistent with our highest values. And so your values shifted.
Yeah, I think when your wants and needs change, so do you. You know, that's how it is. I no longer I didn't want to go back to Iraq and get blown up and be a statistic. I was just like, because there were lots of people being statistics real fast around me, you know, and it sucked, you know. You know, obviously I love my family, as in my military family. The brotherhood is always there, you know, but these guys have given up a lot for zero back. And so now I switch and I say, okay, so what can I give with zero back? You know, how can I help other people? And that's kind of cultivated, as I say, you know, I've started my own company. It's doing fantastic. I've got another company I've just started. That's doing fantastic. We've got G.A.S leadership rolling, you know, so I've got the trifecta there.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where I can say, all right, how much can I give back now? Let's see what I can do. This is hilarious, all right? Let's see whose lives we can change for the better and do some cool stuff with it.
So awesome,
so
man.
that's where my mindset is now. It wouldn't be that way if I was still in the military.
Do you feel like this is my favorite question to ask people. So I have a feeling I know what it's going to be because we've talked about it a little bit, but what is the top of your checklist? Like, what do you really want to accomplish before you die? What is that one thing?
I would like for a youth leadership team to be fully sponsored by me, where you can make effective change at the most important part of a young person's life, which is probably around the 12-year-old marker through to the 18-year-old. If I won the lottery today and I had enough money to fund it, I would fund a leadership university for 12-year-olds to probably 17-year-olds, where you would attend that university on a summertime basis, completely free. You would come in under
Based
us.
on merit?
I'm unsure.
How would you choose?
Yeah, that'd be tough. I mean,
Okay.
I think
Sorry, I didn't mean to-
that's totally fine.
Okay.
It's a piece where you would have to dial that in, but a dream and an aspiration on that checklist is, how do I get enough capital together to set that in motion so that every single year, maybe we only have enough funds for 30 people, but 15 boys, 15 girls get to come into that leadership academy every single year, and they have to promise that they'll stay there for the entire time through, and you finish that with a degree as such in junior leadership, in some form of leadership role. So then you can turn around and just empower the world. How can we change the world the best? By putting the right people in the right place at a young age who understand how to lead people, how to lift others. If we, I was taught as a kid, right? And I apologize if I don't get it 100% right, but you basically, if you were to have 2 spoons tied to your hands, and the spoons are so long that you can't reach to feed yourself, but the spoons, you can dip into food and you can feed others. Everyone can feed each other. So why the hell don't we just get the F on with it? You know what I mean?
I have
come
heard
on,
that.
man.
I have heard
All
that
right?
before. I
and
love that.
That's what I was trained by my mum at a young age. And so that's how my leadership style is. How can I feed this person the best in order for them to feed me later? All right? And it works. I mean, my team began at $1 million. They did $7.2 million net business year 1. Show me another company that's done that, and I'll give that guy a high five.
I've studied
as well.
business and entrepreneurship for a decade. That's usually businesses don't make any money for the first 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, sorry, I made a profit last year.
You made a handsome profit.
Yeah.
Feel free to donate to the Hyperconscious podcast.
You got it, bud. You got
No, I'm kidding. That's awesome. I love that. That's Kevin's favorite question. He asks all our guests. I absolutely love it.
And my hope is very similar to yours. I was telling you, I want to create something called Kevin's Kids. It's very similar to that.
Nice.
So again, I have a feeling that's why I wanted to ask that.
I mean, this is the piece, right? Is and I think this is for the audience as well, is to understand when you start to put your goals and what you want to do out there in the universe, things move out the way. Right, you have an RAS, reticular activation system, within your head, right? Everyone knows about it, I'm presuming. Okay?
No, not everybody does,
Okay,
but I
well,
do.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's a piece of membrane. It's there to protect you. All right. What you focus on, it's going to dial in on. All right. So you go out, you buy a car. It's a silver Toyota. Suddenly you see 50,000 silver Toyotas. You're like, crap, I never saw these before.
Yeah.
But now you see them. Why? Because your mind is focused on them. So you're out in the woods, just like you said. You hear a rustling in the trees. Little does he know it was a chipmunk.
Oh yeah, it was definitely bigger than a chipmunk. In my defense,
sure, that old chestnut.
It was a 300-pound marlin.
Yeah, all right. So he's out there. He's running around. He is hyper conscious to the things that are around him. All right, and as a result, he's going to hear these things, and it will be there. So use a goal planning exercise. And our hopes and our dreams and our aspirations within you to say, you know what, where do I want to be? And I always reverse engineer it with my team. I say, okay, guys, you're going to write your sales gravestone right now. What do you want it to say on your gravestone? All right, write it down. It can be 10 lines, 2 lines, 50 lines, doesn't matter. Just begin.
Amen to that.
All right, just begin. Because so many people wait for the perfect moment to do the perfect thing, to have all the words written down. I'm like, no, start writing right now. Just start. And then they start, and then they stop for a minute. Another thing which I do as a little tip and a trick as such is, if I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning and I have a thought, I pick my telephone up and I write it down.
Nice.
Absolutely. And I have got notes for notes for notes in my telephone.
Yeah.
And then what happens is all those notes kind of come together, and you end up formulating certain things and doing certain pieces with your business which work. When other people are sleeping, I'm working, And I'm not that guy that even though I've done it a few times, each week kind of thing because of needs, but I'm not the guy that is for the rest of my life going to work around the clock and just be a slave to my job, because that's not the case, not in the slightest. But I am the guy that my working hours are not 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
My working hours are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from a mental mindset.
Yeah.
But my working hours are physical, maybe from 6:30 in the morning till 9:30, I'm on the telephone with the team, I'm doing emails and stuff, some fun stuff, super easy. That to me is not work. All right. Digging a trench to save your life, that's work. All right.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it is relative, But then from 10 a.m., let's say I'm in the office, right? From 10 till, let's say, 4, I'm getting physical actions done. All right. So that is kind of work. I'm physically producing something for someone else to look at. But then from 4 o'clock through to like 7 or 8 o'clock, I'm on the phone with the team maybe, or I've got a sales manager calling me, or, I'm just dealing with other stuff. Easy. I'm driving and on the telephone. What's harder than that? What's easier than that? Sorry, there's nothing easier than that.
And you love your team, so it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. It is fun.
The sense of humor, it's all awesome.
Everyone's cracking jokes. It's, it's all good fun stuff.
Nice.
And then, let's say even I'm home at 6 o'clock, let's say. I grab the girls from school, I'm home at 6, I'm juggling a few things. But I can still be thinking of something at 10 o'clock at night and say, ooh, I liked what I just saw, let's get that to the team, So just whatever your passion is, whatever work you're doing, find the passionate pieces that you like to do and do them, and delegate the rest to someone else. I do not like accounting. My accountant is a sweetheart. She is a legend. She does everything perfect.
Nice.
Great job. Yeah. She loves that, though. She gets all excited about it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Piece of the puzzle.
Everyone's
Do what you
got
love.
their thing. That's beautiful. So good. So I have a couple things that I always like to ask. Kevin got to ask his question.
Oh, here we go.
As he should, because I'm Kevin. So
one of the things that I do want to say real quick too for the listeners is whenever I meet leaders, there's always a lot of common denominators. If I were to look at your iPhone notes, there's probably pages and pages and pages. That's a very strong common denominator. Having a journal of some sort where you record your thoughts. That's one thing I just wanted to say for the listeners. Also, because I wanted people to realize that we are very similar in the sense I want to start a charity called the Lazarus Project, and it's going to be an project-based entrepreneurship course for high schools.
Nice.
To me, when I was in my master's program at WPI, I took entrepreneurship, and that was the first time in my life, believe it or not, where I linked up, if I am smart enough and learn enough and work hard enough, I can actually create a life that I want and make money doing something that helps others rather than just working for some money machine, right? And so that's what I want to get to the high school level first. So they'll link up, if I learn enough, work hard enough, I can actually design a life of my dreams and help others doing that, and be a leader. So we are all between Kevin's kids, that's the name of it.
Yes.
Your leadership academy and I just want the listeners to realize like having something that you want to contribute beyond yourself is absolutely critical to be a leader.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I see that time and time again. So to the questions that I want to hammer at you, and they're going to come quick.
Go for it. That's fine.
Spitball. So you mentioned your mentors. I always like to ask. I think mentors are so critical. I think so few people really focus on getting mentors, and even if they do have mentors, they don't frame them in their own perception as mentors, so they're not going to take as much value. Who are your mentors, and how important do you think mentors are in personal growth?
All right, I'll start with the second piece. Mentors and personal growth is a number one key ingredient. It's that simple. You have to be able to look at someone or read about someone or know of someone that's died and has done exceptional things or inspires you to do exceptional things. All right, so there was a phrase which was taught to me. I'll go slightly off track, but I promise to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
All right?
Let's go.
A phrase that was taught to me, I was maybe 17 years old, roughly. In fact, I'm probably nearly 18 years old, and I'll never forget it. I was on Salisbury Plain in England, sat out there in my combats with the rest of the guys. I'm freezing cold, soaking wet. It's a Sunday, and it's church service. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I just want to get this exercise over and done with. We got 7 days to go. Come on, let's go get warm. Let's go eat. And the padre was up there, and he's talking about all sorts of stuff, and he's delivering a sermon that's like 45 minutes long, and everyone's dying. But then one piece stands out, and he says in his rickety old voice, he's like, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." And I was just like, "Really? That's your thing of the day, bud?" I sat here for 45 minutes to listen to that. Now then, little did I know, but we all made fun of it. And it stuck in my brain. And that's me being a juvenile, dumb, young kid.
Naive.
All right. Yeah, naive, idiot.
Ignorant.
Yeah. No, absolutely, mate.
Lay on him.
We all, no,
Jesus,
we all
it is.
are. It's 17.
You know it.
17.
I know, I'm
you know?
teasing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I sit there and I remembered it. And suddenly it started to play out. And it was very, very true. You know, you don't need to be the biggest, baddest person in the room with all of the knowledge, all of the accolades, everything else. But surround yourself with people who are mentors to you, who are solid individuals that as a group you can collaborate together and do great things. All right. So I started that in a non-intentional way, you know. You mentioned earlier about Sam Walton. That's why I started smiling.
Yeah.
I just so happened to know the VP of Global Leadership for Walmart.
Okay.
And-
Interesting. You
and
just
his-
happen to know.
Yeah. His name's Colonel James Cameron, 1st Battalion, the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment. And he
Okay.
was a colonel of my regiment before he then moved to Little Rock, Arkansas, and became the VP of Global Leadership.
I think
Alright.
Sam Walton's from Arkansas, right? He's somewhere out in the Midwest.
You probably got me better on that.
I don't
one,
know.
but
Okay,
yeah,
keep
it is
going.
what it
Sorry,
is,
I didn't mean
right?
to interrupt. Yeah.
So, you know, so there's that piece of the puzzle. So I sit there and I say, well, I want to write about my book, G.A.S. Leadership, you know, and I want to do some interviews with it and kind of build some fun stuff for everyone to learn from, for a training platform. So I pick up the telephone to James Cameron and I'm like, hey, boss, how are you? He's like, Corporal Moore, how are you? I'm just like, boss, I'm doing great. This is what we're up to, this, and this. And I sat there on Skype with that man for about an hour, hour and a half of just digging into his leadership styles. What is leadership to him? All these different questions, some really, really cool stuff. Now, that man has 2.3 million employees that he has to take care of.
Yep. That report.
All right. Report to him through a series of line managers, marketing managers, or market managers, and divisions and that sort of thing. He bothered his ass to take 90 minutes out of his day to talk to a guy who was a corporal that worked in his battalion 10 years prior. Give a shit leadership. All right. That person right there has done some exceptional mentoring for me in just that 90 minutes. And we've had conversations like prior and obviously afterwards, you know. That's an immediate minor mentor. And I don't mean minor in the sense of...
The impact.
the impact. I just mean in a blip, you know. That is an instant blip. Now, when you talk about long-term mentors, well, I use Richard Branson. I've never met the guy. I've seen him on TV. I've read some of his books and stuff.
Screw it. Let's do it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so all of those pieces of the puzzle there for him, I watched and I grew up. I went to HMV and Virgin Records and all of these things to go buy my CDs, you know?
Yeah.
All right. And I got a Virgin Mobile and I was just like, wow, this guy is building an empire. And I just followed him and watched him. And part of me was just like, do I need to be as big and bad and crazy and, you know, as much of a raging successful entrepreneur from an outside perspective as him? I don't know. But is he someone that I should, if I was 1% like him, how far ahead of myself right now would I be? Now, I'm 16 years old. I'm just about to join the army, you know, and I'm looking at him as a mentor. And I've continued to see that mentorship from him all those years through.
You just answered my next question.
Sorry about that.
So my next question, no, don't be sorry. Then my next question was heroes. Because mentors for me, and again, it's just a label, is in person. Heroes are people that you look up to that you don't personally know. So he was a hero of yours for your whole life. And by the way, that makes perfect sense knowing you now.
Right.
But you're a little... what's the word? Right?
Crazy.
He's a little crazy,
I'm
you
a
know?
little batshit crazy.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I'll say, screw it, let's do it before you think about it.
Yeah. Ready?
Don't think about it. Yeah.
Ready, fire, aim.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, you got it. But some other mentors which are key in my life then, you know, is I've got a gentleman, Ranger Bob Coadra, all right, Sergeant Major, Special Forces, retired. I would not have gotten to the United States if it wasn't for that man giving me a job opportunity. Like straight up, you know, I was in England. I was just like, hey, Stock market had crashed. I knew I liked the sunshine. I knew I liked to work. I figured I'd seen Baywatch a few times. That's it. Moving to California.
Talk about preparation.
Yeah, moving to California.
Moving to California.
I went on to Craigslist. I looked it up. I saw sales manager opportunity, $200,000 a year. That's for me.
Yeah.
And then I applied for it. And when I applied for it, I got my ass on a plane. I flew over on a tourist visa. I did my job interview. He said, "Great, you're hired. Have you got a visa?" I said, "No." And he said to me, "Well, that's gonna suck." You know?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, and in his wonderful voice, like, "All right, there, partner. So we got to get you a visa, huh?" And I was just like, "How do we do it?" He's like, "Here's a lawyer." And 18 months later, roughly $12,000 later, me going backwards and forwards like a yo-yo, I managed to get a visa because of the extracurricular work that I'd done in the military, because of the help that the company had given me, and the sponsorship level and everything else. There was a position that was there for a management analyst. And that's what I did. I was an operations management analyst from all of the stuff that I'd done in the military. You know, all of my degree work, everything else, which I did whilst I was in the military, you know. And so never ever turn something down is a big piece of the puzzle. And I know we digress slightly, but for anyone that is listening, you have the ability to go and do one extra piece of coursework every single week.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know about the compound effect when I was 20 years old and running around like a ninja in the middle of Wales, freezing cold. But you know what? The compound effect was in play without me knowing.
Yep.
Because now I get to the United States and I've got other friends of mine who are from the military like, "Oh, John, can I do the same as you?" I'm like, "Do you have a degree?" "No." "Do you have a specialist qualification?" "No." You're screwed. All right?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, everything's locked down. So I was very, very fortunate, and I'd saved my money. Because I'd saved my money, I was able to, you know,
Travel.
across and get the funds, right? But so then Bob Coadra turns out to be a lifelong mentor. This guy literally is like a dad to me now, you know. He is phenomenal. I will literally drop anything to help that man in a heartbeat, you know. I came into the country not knowing a lot about even the country. I was still a military guy at heart, you know. And he's just like, "Partner, you gotta drop all of that. That ain't gonna work for you." And I'm just like, "Oh crap. All right, what now?" He's like, "You need to become a civilian real fast, John." And I'm like, "Okay." So he taught me about the sales side of things. He taught me about the leadership and the management side of things, you know, because they are two very distinctly different pieces. And so that ended up for me being a journey of like, you know, a good 6-7 years with Ranger Bob. And just, wow, you know, an onboard mentor. I speak to him probably twice a week, you know, just to say hi, you know. But then that led to other mentors, you know. I got the VP of sales, a gentleman called Lane. He is a massive mentor. I would not have known half of the things that I needed to do as an owner of a company if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
He gave me all of the, "Hey, John, have you got this? Hey, John." He was my checklist.
Yeah.
Just like when you guys did your checklist for here.
And
I love it. Your flight plan. But one thing I will say is with a flight plan and a checklist, to launch that aeroplane, you have to go into the wind.
Yeah, adversity.
You have to. Now, we take the adversity that, as I say, I'm not the worst adversity person at all. There's lots of people that have been out there, had a worse life than me by far. I'm very fortunate, I'm very thankful and grateful for that, you know. But I needed to have that dog shit piece of like the first 10 years of my life to be able to reference those points and say, "No, I will never, ever, ever have any of my family members be subjected to anything like that," you know? And so then you take a mentor from a business standpoint, a mentor from a leadership standpoint, you take your military experience and you take now what you've done as a leader in a civilian world for the past 10 years, and now we're soaring. Like, this is where we are. You can see it. You step back.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a position where I say, okay, how do I now help others? All right?
Love it.
It's my damn duty to help other people.
That's why
now.
you're here today.
Yes, you know, stuff like that.
Love it, man.
But there's a last piece I would say on mentors, because this is huge for other people. If you don't have any of those, go read a book. All right? There are so many cool books out there of people that have done great things who are dead, gone, and buried. Go read a book. Take a minute. It doesn't have to be a big book. It doesn't need to be 250 pages. You can read one chapter of it. You will find that the cycle of life goes again and again and again. All right? It doesn't really change that much.
Principles.
Yeah.
They stay the same. The fundamentals stay the same.
Absolutely. The fundamentals stay the same.
So you answered my third question. Literally, I have them written down if you want to see.
Okay,
Mentors, heroes, books. You
Oh,
did
nice.
that when I only asked one of them.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And no, don't be sorry. That's
What else we
awesome.
got?
So the last question, which if I let you keep going, you'd probably answer
No,
on
you're
your
good,
own.
you're good, come on.
So you said read a
I'm
book.
gonna pee
What
real
is your-
quick.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the one who can hold it, but you said you can hold it for 8 hours, so I think I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
because
Kevin's.
Well, he missed his $1 million last time.
am I
so
gonna miss it?
You are.
definitely going to miss the
So you-
$1 million question here.
So the question
good
that I
there, bud?
like to ask, and this is a good segue because thank you, Kevin, for that. Because you just mentioned the importance of reading a book if you don't have mentors, because that's
Yeah.
a good place to start. Kevin and I were talking about this not long ago. He said someone put 50 years worth of knowledge and experience into a book I can read in a week, and I'm not. And it's the Sam Walton book, $160 billion net worth, wonderful man. From what I can tell, I read it's called
Sure.
Made in America.
Yep.
It's a $7 book.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people even know about it.
Yeah.
And it's like he literally netted more money than any of the billionaires alive combined during him, and had a great family, humble human being, believe it or not. And it's like
Yeah.
$7 book, nobody knows about it. So
Sure.
it's weird how that works. What's your favorite book? And
Oh.
more importantly, why?
Okay. So you have different books for different times in your life, and you have different books do different things for you. All right. So Patrick Lencioni, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. It's not just a book; it's a way of living. It is. You can get a full masterclass on it, and do the full workbook with it. Take your team through it, the whole lot. So that was one of my favorite ones, right there.
Love it.
I am a big fan of Think and Grow Rich.
Kevin's reading it right now. We talked about it on
yeah.
the way up here.
Nice.
So guess what he just said. Kevin's back in the room. One of his top favorite books, Think and Grow Rich, which Kevin is currently reading, and we talked about
Yeah.
on the ride up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I
Think
said.
and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's difficult because I do listen to lots of books.
Audible?
Yeah, I'm a big audio fan on that sort of thing. I do a lot of driving around, obviously, so it's good for me to just plug in and just run with it. It does depend on where I'm at in my life and what I'm doing. There's a closers and a cleaners book, and I have to apologize that I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's on my audio, right? And it's basically you go from being a closer to a cleaner.
Relentless by Tim Grover.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Every single episode
every
we talk about that.
No, it's great.
By Tim Grover. So it's Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne
Yes.
Wade's personal trainer.
Yes.
Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
Relentless.
So I think that gives you kind of the broad spectrum, But then when I'm in my business mind, I'll be reading like Scaling Up. That's a great business book. How do I scale my team up? So it's all about where you're at and what you're trying to do. If it's a personal growth aspect, then Wayne Dyer's kind of cool.
Wayne Dyer.
Or Wayne Dyer, yeah, sorry. He's a cool dude. You know what I mean?
He's one of my favorite authors. Talk about prolific, by the way. He's
Yeah.
written like fucking
Everything.
35 books.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
What's your favorite one of his? So I'm reading.
So I have it on CDs.
Oh, nice.
So there's a pack of CDs that are in my car in the central console.
Nice.
And literally, I just throw them in.
Turn your car into a classroom. That's another one of, by the way, for all the listeners, all the leaders that we interview, it's another common denominator. They read a lot. They feed their mind. Like everyone's so focused on like, what am I eating? What am I feeding my body? Very important. But what's really, really, really important is what are you feeding your mind?
Yeah.
The radio, advertisements, it's all junk food. Your mind, bad inputs equals bad outputs. Your outputs, by the way, are your behaviors.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I watched the news.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, same.
So,
That's another common denominator.
A couple of days ago, someone says to me, John, did you know that Hawaii's like the volcano erupted? I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, get out of town. No way.
I didn't know that even right now.
And I don't mean that in a rude, obnoxious, like I'm immune to the world kind of thing. I'm just like, you know what? I have a team of people which I care about, and if it doesn't affect them, if it's not going to help them get better, then I'm not interested. Let's go.
So let's bring that down to earth for people, because I think that this is a really difficult concept for people to get. If you cannot effectively create positive change within that awareness, like I'm not saying to be ignorant to what's going on in the world, but when it comes to your own personal well-being, if you are scared, overwhelmed by all of the crazy things going on in the world, which, by the way, the news, if it bleeds, it leads. In other words, it's shock value content. It's not a perception of what's really going on. It's a perception of all the most shocking things going on. The analogy I always use is driving down the highway. If there's an accident, everyone looks, including you. But if there's a beautiful sunset, the traffic just whizzes by.
Yeah.
Best analogy I've heard. The news is using it to get ratings.
Apart from me, I'm the guy with the iPhone hanging out the window, slowing the traffic down. Like, wow, check that out.
Yeah, for the sunset.
Absolutely.
See, I am too,
I've got
man.
so
I love
many
that.
on my phone. It's hilarious.
I love that. But I just really want people to realize that if you are being more fear-based or more scarcity-minded or more worried because you're constantly feeding your mind all of this sensational shock value news, you are less capable to help and positively influence others, including yourself.
Yeah. So for me, it comes down to emotions. That's what we're talking about here. The news, and this isn't a dig on the news at all, but in general, we know that shock value sells. Shock value can be a negative emotion which causes fear, panic, and all sorts of stuff like that, and causes you to pay attention. Why? Because your reticular activation system is designed to protect you.
Yep.
Your brain is designed with ones and zeros to protect you.
Yep.
Bear comes running out of the woods. We all know it. Two things, fight or flight.
Yep.
You grab the stick, you poke the bear, hope to God you win, or,
Or you run.
I'm skinny for a reason, because I can outrun both you guys. And when you're getting chewed on, I can slow down, do a little moonwalk and a hop, skip, and a jump. And I'm like, yeah, nice. Alan was clearly tasty today.
Yeah.
All right. But so, that's the piece of the puzzle. So
No man left behind.
Yeah, no, sorry, mate. You're all good. I just changed that one right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Very true, though. I would at least give you a hand before he ripped something off.
Absolutely.
If us three couldn't take down a bear, we need some.
I think
need to-
I saw the punching bag in the basement, so we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring the punching bag with me. But
No, but I mean, I'm assuming you know what to do with it.
yeah, absolutely. Give it a nudge.
And you're also a savage, so.
My fitness coach said this once. He said, our brain is designed from an evolutionary standpoint to always look for what's wrong, because what's wrong could kill you.
Yeah.
What's right, we have to kind of do on our own, because
Yeah.
it's not designed for that necessarily.
Yeah, so and that comes back to the emotions thing. Emotion is energy in motion, all right? When you have an energy field which hits you, positive or negative, it will put you into motion, all right? When you go into motion, will you go into motion in a negative or a positive way? That's the choice aspect, all right? There's a great book when we talk about books, Stress is a Choice, all right? Great book. And it's tiny. It's on my bookshelf over there. I'd move the stuff out of the way you can do.
Who's the author?
Yeah, it's on the bookshelf over there. This was a chat, not who do I know. So, who do you know from the 13th Dynasty? All right, but so, so that's the piece of it, is stress is a choice. So you can put people into a stressful situation and cause issues, or you can put yourself in a stressful situation and cause yourself issues, or you can just take a minute and breathe it in. And then you can breathe the damn thing back out. You get the right to breathe, You do it every second or so. Use it. Use your God-given talents to enhance your personal surroundings first, or your inner self, then your personal surroundings. Then how can you extend that out and extend that out? And I often think of it, for me, as a light within inside of me. That light that's inside of me, is it flowing through me like a badass? Am I on fire? Am I feeling good? Yes. All right, good. Who else can I make feel good? Have I got enough energy today to put that umbrella bigger and bigger and bigger? How far can I get it? And that's the cool thing. When you take that, you put that into any team, even into yourself. You put that into any team, you will get phenomenal results. I was able to take a 4-person team and go and bash out $7 million. I've seen 10-people teams crash and burn at 6 and have a terrible time and start to end up going out of business, kind of thing.
And you're just getting started too. This is
it's fun.
Beginning.
Why
It's
not?
only the beginning.
Yeah, I've got so many cool things. It's unreal, But that comes back to what you said. I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't access my mentors, ask for help, ask for guidance, and give back. Because they need some loving too.
Oh, for sure.
When you succeed at something, go say thank you to the person that helped you.
Oh, for sure.
Send them a text message.
Yeah.
Technology's great nowadays.
Yeah.
All right. Or just check in. Like I phoned up Ranger Bob the other day, just say, hey, how are you getting on?
Yeah.
Nothing else. And that's huge.
In other words, give a shit.
Yeah, give a shit, exactly. I mean, that's what the book's all about. I mean, how do you get a team to go from 0 to hero and sustain it?
It's a
Give a
great way
shit.
to articulate
Where
that.
so
Go on.
where can people find you,
plug.
get the book, plug away.
Plug away everything.
Okay,
you
so you can go to www.gasleadership.com, sign up for our newsletter, sign up for the book as well. I'll get it probably out July time, I think, realistically. Maybe August.
I would like to get one signed.
for sure.
Sure, why not?
Awesome. Thank you.
It's in the final editor stages. You know, they're doing all of their, hey, you spelt this wrong, douchebag, you know.
I get that once a week from Alan, so I know all about it.
Every morning.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Yeah, it's cool.
Any other plugs? Social media? Facebook page.
Sure.
You have a Facebook page
Yeah, we have
where
a
you can
Facebook
review
page,
you.
G.A.S. Leadership. Yeah, go review me, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what you can probably guess is I'm not just going to be a media hooker, you know. Let's do stuff that's cool. Let's help people out. Let's make a positive change in the world where, you know, we can take the listening generation, the learning generation, and help them be the best possible version of themselves. Show them what is achievable. You know, I got friends back home that never believed that they can do what I've done. And as a result, they haven't done what I've done. I'm no damn different to them. Not a piece. I was born in the same hospital. You know, I lived in the same streets. I went to the same school. I probably got similar sort of grades. I don't know exactly. But I left school at 16. You know, so that's how it is. You don't have to be, and I'm sorry for all of the people that are the university majors out there and all the superstars, knowledge-based gurus. You don't necessarily have to do that. Depends on a profession you want to jump into, you know.
Love it. So I have one final question. This is a question that I always like to ask the guests. I always say that the truest part of us is the part of us that never changed. So many things grow, evolve, change. Mm-hmm. What's the piece of you that never changed?
Man.
Take your time on that, because I know it's a toughie.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Since I was a kid, I think the piece of the puzzle that never changed for me was my love for adventure, for the new, just breaking boundaries. You know, I'll never forget me with my first bicycle. I was in this like kind of plaid jacket, you know, and I'm on this yellow bicycle and it had the tires which were like concrete inside, you know, so you could never deflate them, which I thought was hilarious. And I had my little like wheels, balance stabilizer wheels on them, and that first journey out of my house, turn right, you know, going down this rickety pavement down to the bollards at the end of the street, and then coming back, was me. That was an adventure, and I was just like, I love that adventure. And even to this day, now turning around, and it's not so much the adventure that I love as such, it's how do I get other people to enjoy the adventure? So that's, I think the main topic is the adventure line of live your dreams, expand your horizons. It's okay to fail. It's totally cool. Get your ass back up. You'll be fine. I'll never forget, you know, we took the wheels off when I wasn't meant to, the stabilizers, and I went careering down the street, and I cracked my head open on a bollard, all right? And so back of my head's got a few holes in it. And so because I couldn't brake, so I hit the curb, came straight off of my bike, straight over the handlebars.
What's a bollard?
Oh, that's a toughie.
I was going to ask
for the listeners and for me and Kevin.
So a bollard is shit.
It's like, stumped him.
Yeah, it's
stumped him.
It's to stop a car going the wrong way down the street.
So like in front of Target, they have those big.
Yeah. There you go. So when you go up to Target, you got the red and white bollards which are out the front. You know, so
just big balls that make sure a car doesn't drive through the front of the store.
Okay. Yeah, big tall poles.
Yeah.
Like sonotubes. There you go.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, so I come up to the edge of the curb. I hit the edge of the curb. I smack my head open on the bollard, and it was okay. You know, my mum had a meltdown. I think the girl thought I was going to die, you know. But she had a mini meltdown. She was like, I told you not to go on the road. I was like, oh, no, Mum, but it was good. It was fun. 20 minutes later, I'm back out there. I think I had stitches in my head that night and stuff. But, you know, they taped me up and it was all good. It's okay. You know, you're going to bleed. You're going to sweat. It's going to hurt from time to time. It doesn't matter, you know. And you know what? If you should, heaven forbid, die, it's okay, because that's an adventure which none of us here have gone on yet.
Interesting.
So,
interesting.
Deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went the deepest right at the end.
Not in a bad way, but I'm excited to see what the next adventure is. You know, I haven't completed everything that I want to do here by any means. I want to be a great grandpa, all sorts of fun stuff, you know, and do as much as we can to help other people. from a business and an entrepreneurial side of things, and and a life leadership.
I'm not surprised Mariana chose you as one of the speakers,
no.
man.
I rant on. I can go on for days.
Oh, so good. So good, though.
I think it was. I liked what you said, and we're gonna end very very soon here. I really liked that you just said basically what I say all the time. I'm not anything special.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy with a dream. I'm just lucky enough to know that I will make it if I try super hard every day. Every day. No excuses, no days off. Just do what I know I should be doing. Go to sleep proud of myself for the job I've done, and just keep going. I think we're nothing special.
No.
We're just regular people.
Can I say something on
Absolutely.
what you resonated with here? And I apologize to rant on, right?
No.
But here's the deal. People often quit because they don't meet their own expectations. It's a huge one. People turn around and they say, I've got this dream, I've got this ambition, I've got this goal, and they start to slip on where their markers should be. And they don't realign their markers.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I could be dead. Have I completed everything? If I was to think, oh crap, I need to complete 3 million things by tomorrow, I am toast. Absolute toast. There's no way that I'm going to get even one of those things done. But I believe that I'm going to live to over 100. And so I've got some time.
Goals are important.
I've got some time.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep.
So you know what? If you've set an adventure line or a goal line and you want to go hit it, then turn around yourself and don't stress yourself out. Don't set crazy ass expectations way out the gates, or even get upset with yourself about the fact you're not hitting targets. Just breathe, sit back, and say, okay, where am I at? Because if you don't know which level of the diving boards you're on, you're never going to be able to jump and do the flips and the tricks that you want to do. All right?
They did a study about exactly what you just said. They had two different groups of students, and they gave them a test. It was a really difficult test that was kind of meant to be really difficult. One of them got rewarded. One of the groups got rewarded for their effort, like when your daughter fell down and you praised it because she tried and failed forward, literally.
Yeah.
Fell forward, failed forward. Same
all the
difference.
same.
Trust me, we screw up every podcast somehow.
Yes.
We don't know, but they keep getting better.
We don't know what's screwed up in this one yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Hopefully
like
both the cameras are on.
Right, probably.
But the other study, they got valued for their intelligence. And then they gave them another even harder test. The people who got praised for their effort really worked harder and finished the second test by a significant margin.
Wow.
So reward yourself for your own level of effort. I always say don't judge yourself based on the results alone. Judge yourself based on the amount of effort you put forth and the progress that you've made, because progress over time, the compound effect, is what's really going to yield results that are huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Did I try my hardest today? If I did, but I didn't get anywhere, then that just means the system that I'm doing doesn't quite work. Just change the system.
Interesting.
Keep trying what you're doing. Keep working hard. You'll get there.
Yeah.
Always do. Always do.
Love it.
I love it. Well, it is safe to say that you for sure are hyper-conscious, and
Right.
greatly appreciate you coming on. And if there's anything else you want to plug away. If not, we will sign off.
No, that's it. We're all good.
We're
Thank
all
you
good.
guys. I'll plug you guys.
Oh,
Alan Lazaros, Kevin.
Palmieri.
Palmieri,
Yeah.
sorry, my bad.
No, that was good.
I'm like,
No,
but yeah, cheers, bud.
we
Thank you,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you so much for
coming on.
coming on,
times.
Jonathan.
Thank you.
Such a
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
I can't wait to speak with you again in the future. Yes.
Hey, what's up? We hope you loved that episode. Next week, we have another great episode for you. Josh Bryan and Corey Hageman. They are fitness personalities on Instagram, but deeper than that, they're both entrepreneurs, and they'll motivate the shit out of you if you don't know what your passion is and you want to find it.
We talked a lot about being obsessed, mastery-driven, what it's like to transfer one passion to another. You're going to love it. Check out the next episode.
Bye.